Chapter 909. Why did you come back? Don't you know that I told you to leave? Bao Ci shouted in a low voice. Do you think this is a game? That could cost someone's life. Bao Pe said in a deep voice, Father, I have already opened an ata, there is still an hour left. With my sovereign strength, I can also help you. Hearing his son's words, Bao Ci seemed to have just realized that his son had opened the Inata realm and also had the strength of a supreme martial artist. Then go evacuate the people first. Yes. Pai Liangjun was furious, but the roar from the magma calmed him down a little. The two of you, go home immediately. Pai Liangjun said in a deep voice. Father. Scram. Pai Cheng and Pai Guanghui felt quite helpless. They wanted to help their father, but they had no choice but to scram. After all, his strength was there, and he still had to let his father take care of him. But what kind of monster was under the magma? While carrying doubts, Pai Cheng and Pai Guanghui left first. At this moment, Bao Po was also evacuating the audience. However, some people were unwilling to leave. It seemed that there was going to be a good show to watch soon. It seemed like this excitement was not divided by region. People everywhere liked to watch a good show, and they didn't mind it. But some people were destined to be tragic. Roar. Waves of frenzied roars reverberated through the entire sea. Once again, an even larger tsunami appeared on the Sea of Innocence. This was a disaster. Magma began to erupt like sparks. Even the barrier set up by the three old men was unable to withstand the erosion of the magma. It disappeared in an instant. When a drop of lava fell on someone's arm in the spectator stands, a maniacal scream suddenly rang out. This person began to turn into a skeleton at a speed visible to the naked eye. This magma was indeed terrifying. Moreover, the magma was like a dense Gatling gun, falling into the surroundings. The crowd was screaming. If they were given another chance, they definitely wouldn't stay and watch the show. It was as if they were playing with their lives. The four honorable beings were also resisting the lava. After all, if it were to land on their bodies, they did not know what sort of damage it would cause. Meanwhile, at Qing Yutong's side, all of the imperial guards surrounding her were shot down. Only the 5 of them were fine. It was as if they had the protagonist's halo. The magma just didn't land on them. It was as if tens of thousands of arrows were shot at the same time, but they just couldn't hit their target. It didn't make sense. His luck was just that good. Yizizi closed her eyes and murmured, "This voice is really nice." Yeah, it's the sound of nature. Kai Yun also closed his eyes in enjoyment. It was too comfortable. Brett pursed his lips. What two little perverts. It's none of your business, old woman. Yizizi snorted. Brett couldn't be bothered to lower himself to Yizizi's level, so he stopped talking. Qing Yutong, on the other hand, was looking inside the magma. Just what kind of monster would appear? Hearing that roar, it should be a very powerful monster. This was no small matter and could not be underestimated. Alright, it was just a joke. There were 5 freaks standing here, so the ones he had to be careful of were the 4 supreme beings. A stream of magma spurted out like a fountain. It was dazzling and beautiful. However, this magma spewed out from the deep sea. On the vast Sea of Innocence, a terrifying wave of lava burst out of the sea and rushed into the clouds. However, when the magma was blown by the wind from high up in the sky, it was originally perfectly straight, but right now, it started to bend. As for where it would be blown to, no one knew. However, it was hard to deny that if this magma were to fall down, it would be a terrifying disaster. Old Mao, how's today's harvest? A 70-year-old old man walked over while holding onto a fishing rod and a sieve. His face was brimming with a gentle smile. Old Wang, that little grandson of yours has just been born, are you willing to come out? Old Mao was also a 70-year-old old man. Wearing a conical bamboo hat, he turned his head around and said with a smile. Old Wang sat beside Old Zhang and said with a slight smile, "Fishing is more important for us brothers, it's fine as long as there is an old woman looking after us. Look at your mouth that can't be closed, it must be comfortable to have a grandson." Old Wang said with a slight smile. "That's right, if that son of mine didn't fight for it, he would have stayed in this small fishing village for the rest of his life, waiting for that little grandson to bring honor to our old Wang family. Bring honor to our ancestors." Sigh. Old Mao let out a deep sigh. "That son of yours hasn't returned home for almost 20 years, right?" Sigh. "Sometimes, I really feel that I don't have this son anymore. That son of yours is very busy, but fortunately, with your son in Meridian Break sect, our village is a bit better off." Old Mao laughed lightly. "In the past, I did feel that I had a lot of face, but after a long time, who would be able to endure it? Fishing, don't talk about such a depressing matter. Alright, let us return with a full harvest today." The two hid at the seaside and chatted while fishing. There was even a small glass of wine placed at the side. "Old Mao, am I drunk? The horizon seems to be covered." Old Wang rubbed his eyes and asked curiously. Old Wang rubbed his eyes and asked confusedly, "What is that?" However, at the horizon, a huge tsunami came attacking, and the terrifying pressure seemed to be able to tear everything apart. Old Mao, what is this?" Old Zhang grabbed onto Old Mao's arm and asked in alarm. Old Mao was also stupefied by the thing in front of him. It's too tall, it seems to be able to cover the entire sky." The tsunami didn't come, but a strong gale immediately came, and the two elders were instantly blown away. Their bodies fiercely collided onto the big rock behind them, and the two of them spurted out blood. And in the fishing village that was a few hundred meters behind them, all of the houses were flipped over. There were thousands of people in the fishing village, and in an instant, more than 10 people died. Panic spread in everyone's heart, because everyone saw that terrifying tsunami. Covering the blazing sun in the sky, everyone immediately knelt down and praying to the sea god for protection. Old Mao, Old Zhang, the two elders looked at the tsunami that was surging towards them, but they didn't have any way to stop it. Whoosh! The tsunami that reached the sky instantly overturned the entire fishing village, and everyone died at this moment. Even if it was a newborn child. It was simply cruel to the extreme. This fishing village was the village that was the closest to the tsunami, and there were more than 100 similar towns in the surroundings. The terrifying tsunami did not weaken in the slightest and continued attacking towards the mainland. However, at the back, an even more terrifying tsunami was following closely behind. When everyone looked at the tsunami that was swallowing everything, despair, deep despair. However, at the same time when everyone was in despair, a blazing flame appeared in the sky and slid past their heads. At the Meridian Break Sex Outer Sex Law Enforcement Team, it was currently time to eat. Team Leader Mao, congratulations. I heard that you are going to the inner courtyard. A law enforcement team member held onto a wine cup and chuckled. Chapter 941. Translations. Looking at the current Yi Yan and Yi Lu, this was the relationship that siblings should have. Once again, it showed that Yi Hua's arrangement was correct. I wonder what sister is doing now, and that ice lump, Yi Yan murmured. Yi Lu, who was at the side, became cold again. She only acted coquettishly to her own brother. Indeed, Yi Lu did not act coquettishly in front of God Yi. She only acted coquettishly in front of Yi Yan because Yi Yan was her brother. Sister must be bullying brother God Yi, Yi Lu said indifferently. Yi Lu said faintly as he pulled Yi Yan towards the cultivation room. He was already a little impatient. Yi Yan sighed. God Yi is so pitiful. Fortunately, Dad was smart and let me team up with you. Otherwise, I would have been killed by sister. Now you know that sister is good. You ignored me in the past. My good Lu, why did brother ignore you in the past? It was you who didn't play with brother and always hung out with God Yi. Yi Yan pouted. How could he say that he, as a brother, did not play with him? How heartless. Yi Lu smiled. Brother, I know I was wrong. I'll accompany brother more in the future. Yi Yan hugged his sister's shoulder. That's my good sister. Let's go. I'll let you practice. But I have to say, don't slap my face. I won't slap his face this time. I know you want to pick up girls. Hee hee, don't tell mom and dad. This is a little secret between us. I know. The siblings walked towards the training room under everyone's gaze. Then, they both sighed. They mourned for the training room for a second. Because it was about to collapse. It would basically collapse once a month. These two were simply perverts. As the siblings walked into the training room, everyone had a panicked expression, especially those who were taught a lesson by Yi Lu. They immediately pretended not to see it. Yi Yan continued to walk without caring about anyone. Yi Lu returned to her normal expression. Acting coquettishly was not a normal expression. The two walked towards the dedicated training room. Yi Yan pushed open the heavy metal door. Shouts could be heard from inside. Another child of the same age was waving his fists. He looked very serious, and his face was covered in sweat. It's him again, Yi Yan muttered. Emichum, Yi Lu replied calmly. The boy inside turned around to look at Yi Yan and Yi Lu. Of course, he knew them. They were about to become the principal's final disciples. No one dared to provoke them. It could be said that they could do whatever they wanted in Deity Institution. But he refused to accept it. Why were they allowed to become the disciples of Jizun and not him? He slept later than them, got up earlier than them, and worked harder than them. In just a few breaths of time, 1/5 of the outer sect had been set ablaze, and the magma was still flowing. This panic quickly attracted the attention of the inner courtyard. The Dozong teacher immediately flew to the scene of the incident. Hair hardening, what's going on? Where did this thing come from? A Dozong teacher questioned. I don't know. It fell from the sky. Just as the two of them were talking, another person suddenly appeared beside them. Everyone was stunned for a moment, then immediately knelt down and shouted, Greetings, Sovereign. The person who came was the Broken Pulse sect's sovereign, Lasting Hatred. Sovereign, the magma fell from the sky. The Dozong teacher seemed to have something difficult to say. Lasting Hatred looked at the long line of magma and said in a deep voice, a disaster has fallen from the sky, causing a great change in time. Could it be related to that skeleton? Hair Hardening said in a low voice. Lasting Hatred waved his hand and an unknown wind blew over. The falling magma gradually moved. Although it still landed in the outer sect, it slowly moved outside. But what was outside? It was filled with countless mountains. Even Lasting Hatred could not get rid of the magma and could only move it away. After all, the inner courtyard was filled with talented disciples. They had to make a choice. As the magma moved, it finally left the outer sect and began to pour onto the mountains outside. A terrifying fire descended in an instant, and the mountains turned into a sea of fire. Everyone's hearts trembled as they watched on. Lasting Hatred's hands immediately condensed a white glow. Following which, the white glow slowly rose into the sky. Soon, a dark cloud covered the sky, and it began to pour. Hopefully, it would be of some use. Lasting Hatred comforted himself in this way. Where did this magma come from? And it accurately fell into his own sect. Report. A Dozong quickly flew over and bent down in front of Lasting Hatred. Speak. The southern coast was attacked by 2 tsunamis, suffering heavy losses. Tsunamis? Lasting Hatred was puzzled, and his body instantly disappeared. Standing at the side, Hair hardened when he heard this. The parents of the coastal area quickly ran back home. In the Deity Institution, Dean Tai he was reading the results of the 2 little ancestors, and his face revealed a praising expression. Not bad, Yi Yan and Yi Lu are both not bad. They are extremely talented. I like them. Tai he laughed loudly. However, it seemed that the damned meridian-breaking sect also had two good ones. It was really troublesome. Report. A guard quickly ran into the study and knelt down on one knee. He withdrew his smile, and his expression became respectful. Two tsunamis appeared in the southern coast, destroying many cities. He frowned, and his body instantly disappeared from the study. Lasting hatred was already standing not far from the tsunamis, and his gaze became deep. He also appeared beside him, also looking at the tsunamis not far away. What is this water city doing? Lasting hatred said in a low voice. There was still golden magma above his head. From this direction, it seemed to have appeared from Water City. He said in a low voice, I'm afraid something happened to Water City. Water City has been peaceful for so long, why did something happen at this time? Are those three supremes useless? Lasting hatred said angrily. Now that he found out that the golden magma came from Water City, how could he not be angry? He originally thought that it was a natural omen, but it turned out to be man-made. It can't be that Water City is declaring war on us again. He said in a low voice, and his body gradually revealed a huge aura. Under this aura, the surging tsunamis actually decreased, and then turned into seawater that flowed on the ground. Then accept their declaration of war. Lasting hatred shouted in anger, and a terrifying pressure directly flattened the second tsunami. He said indifferently, I'll go back and make some preparations first. We have to talk to them properly about this matter. That's fine. After saying that, he disappeared. And lasting hatred looked at the golden magma in the sky, and there was nothing he could do. However, at this moment, the golden magma actually fell. Baidu search 881 Chinese network yen. No advertising words. Chapter 911. Long hatred immediately dispersed, and a long stream of magma fell onto the ground, instantly igniting the ground. Seeing such a scene, long hatred clenched his fists. This is going too far. Do you really think that you can do whatever you want just because you have three supremes? What a frog at the bottom of a well. At the same time, long hatred also disappeared from the sky. When he saw that half of his outer courtyard had disappeared, he really wanted to call for help right now and rushed to Water City to demand an explanation. Do you really think that I, who live on land, am easy to bully? However, the rainwater had no effect on the magma at all. What was supposed to be burning was still burning. Water City, you guys did well this time. You've angered me. A debt of blood must be paid with blood. On the other side, Mao Hao also rushed back home at top speed. He didn't even hesitate to use a few jump scrolls, which were his trump cards for escaping. However, he couldn't care so much right now. Mao Hao, who was in the sky, saw that the land had turned into an ocean, and a large number of corpses appeared on the surface of the ocean. To ordinary people, this tsunami was simply a huge killing power. They had no way of resisting it at all. My home is right by the sea. Since this place has turned into an ocean, then, Mao Hao didn't dare to stay any longer. He used the jump scrolls again and rushed back desperately. But, Mao Hao couldn't find his home anymore. There was seawater everywhere, and there were corpses of humans and animals everywhere. Father! Mother! Mao Hao roared angrily. He regretted himself. He was so focused on training that he didn't go back to take a look. He only regretted it when something happened. Ah! Mao Hao roared and looked at the distant ocean. Sea of Innocence. Inside the deep-sea arena, no one knew what had happened outside, nor did they know what the consequences of those few strikes just now were. Because they couldn't do anything about it, the thing in front of them was the biggest threat. A huge golden claw stretched out from the magma and stabbed into the sea rocks at the side. Father, what exactly is this abyssal wave? Bao Po was a bit shocked. This monster. I'm afraid its strength is above supreme. Bao Po didn't say anything, he just stared at what was about to appear. Kong Feicheng said faintly, the prehistoric divine beasts and ferocious beasts that we're familiar with are the strongest spiritual creatures, but above them, there's another terrifying existence. Inferno. Pai Liangjun said. Bao Po was confused. He had never heard of the burning fiend before. This term was too foreign to everyone. Bao Ci said gravely, the term, burning fiend, represents a race. There are a lot of races within this race, countless of them, it's just that they are gradually disappearing from everyone's sight. And this abyssal ocean wave, is also a race of burning fiend, it was imprisoned here by the old ancestor. Father, how powerful is Fen Sha? Bao Pa swallowed his saliva. It sounded very powerful. I don't know. Bao Ci shook his head. He was indeed here to deal with this scourge. Otherwise, the entire water city would suffer. However, it was said that as long as they defeated the Fen Sha, they would be able to subdue it. Therefore, they had to face the danger and strive to subdue this monster. Of course, Yu Hua heard their conversation. She smiled and said, they even know about Fen Sha. They're not simple. Just who is their ancestor? He seems to know everything, said Brett with a faint smile. Doraemon. Qing Yutong giggled, she was not worried about the monster that was about to appear in the slightest. I like Crayon Shinchan. Kai Yun pouted his mouth, then said, I have an elephant so big, when this sentence was said, it caused the four women to laugh. So big, do you have an elephant? Just as the five women were chatting and laughing, an explosion sounded out from within the magma once again. Another sharp claw came out from within the magma. Looking carefully, there was even hair on the claw. Just that, this kind of hair, seemed to be more like sharp blades that were flickering with ice-cold chilliness, boom 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 boom. Continuous sounds rang out. 8 legs. Ruthlessly stabbing into the surrounding rocks. F***K, so disgusting, I suddenly don't feel like sucking it. Yi Zizi immediately pounced into Qing Yutong's embrace, expressing that she did not like this kind of animal. Kai Yun was the same as he pounced into Yu Hua's embrace, I'm going to vomit. Yu Hua helplessly caressed Kai Yun's back, then said faintly, if I didn't guess wrongly, this should be the Poisonwood race. Poisonwood race? Brett was also a newbie, and he expressed his doubt. Yu Hua nodded her head, the Poisonwood race usually lives in the depths of the sea, and they are the strongest race in the sea. Their entire body is filled with poison, and they are able to adjust the secretion of the poison in their body according to the difference of the enemy. Their body is also incomparably hard, and even ancient artifacts are unable to harm them in the slightest. So powerful. I am going to give it a try later then. Brett's fighting spirit appeared. The main reason was because what Yu Hua said was too powerful. Brett just wanted to try out how powerful the Poisonwood race was and loosen up a bit. Only this kind of opponent would be interesting. This Poisonwood race's battle prowess in the sea is very strong, but when it comes to land, its battle prowess would be reduced by half. Yu Hua added. Kai Yun pouted his mouth and said, furthermore, this Poisonwood race has been soaking in the hot spring for so long, I reckon that it has already become immune to fire attribute weapons. Look at that hair on its legs, it has already evolved. That is indeed the case. Yi Zizi took another peek at the Poisonwood race, and she felt even more disgusted. Yi Zizi hurriedly squeezed her face into Qing Yutong's embrace and refused to come out. While they were chatting idly on one side, on the other side, the atmosphere had already reached the peak. The abyss wave is about to appear. Boom! A huge body emerged from the magma, and the golden magma flowed down slowly from its body. The body looked as if it had just soaked in a hot spring, and one could not feel the heat at all. This body is a bit strange, it looks like a maggot. The body looks soft, and it is even squirming, but it is wrapped around by the golden magma. This feeling is just like the combination of a spider and a maggot, and the disgusting feeling is simply raised to another level. Furthermore, this plaything's body is still very big, and when some of the details are magnified, one's entire body would turn numb just by looking at it. Qing Yutong turned her head away. This is too disgusting. Brett and Yuhua looked at the abyss wave with great interest. As expected of a perverted woman, they are actually able to look at this thing with a serious expression. Excitement can be seen on their faces. The three old men immediately called their mounts. No, it is a prehistoric divine beast. Prairie blazing war horse. Divine dragon. Terrifying giant crocodile. With 7 people that possess the strength of an overlord, is there even a need to be afraid of not being able to deal with a single abyss wave? Bao Ci did not think at all as he quickly formed seals with his hands, heavenly sealing ghost chart, black coffin. For Bao Ci to be able to use the black coffin, he could be said to be rather skilled. Countless black shadows formed around the abyss wave's body, and in a single breath's time, the black coffin had completely enveloped the abyss wave. Chapter 9:12. The black coffin Bao Xia used was even purer, many times stronger than the one Bao Pe used. Father, is this useful? Asked Bao Pe. It doesn't work, Bao Xi said solemnly. Just as he finished speaking, Kong Feicheng, who was at the side, quickly formed a seal with his hands, and a terrifying force formed around him. Heavenly Sealing Ghost Manual, Graceful Swan. Following Kong Feicheng's angry roar, countless bright red lights appeared around the black coffin. These lights were like needles, but they were very thin and long. Every thin needle emitted a surging power that was shocking to the extreme. This heavenly sealing ghost chart was truly a good item. With a flick of Kong Feicheng's finger, all the brilliant light was inserted into the black coffin. When Qing Yutong saw this scene, she suddenly said, "Have you all seen a magic trick? A black box with a knife inside." "I've seen it before," Yizizi raised her hand and said. She looked quite cute. "I've seen it too," Kaiyun also raised his hand like Yizizi. They really were 2 primary school students. Yu Hua said lightly, "This kind of magic is still too light for Fen Sha." Kaiyun nodded. At the very least, they had to use strange flames. At this time, Pai Liangjun temporarily put down his hatred and dealt with this abyssal wave first. Pai Liangjun stacked his hands together, his palms facing the huge black coffin. Silence hung sect. As soon as he said that, a golden door appeared in front of the abyssal waves. The entire door looked very complicated, and there were complicated seals on the door beam, giving off a terrifying pressure. Shocking world extermination. Boom! A huge red door appeared behind them, forming a sharp contrast with the golden door. The entire sea trembled slightly. The door of life. Boom! A massive white door appeared on the left, giving off a shocking aura. As soon as the 3 doors appeared, Zhao Fu could clearly feel the black coffin trembling. When Bao Pe saw this, his eyes shone with excitement. This was one of the most mysterious moves of the Heavenly Sealing Ghost Manual. One could only learn it after reaching the utmost exalted level. Even he had only heard of it, but had never seen it before. He didn't expect Pai Liangjun to actually learn it. He wondered if his father knew how to do it. Stargate. Boom! The silver doors descended once more. As the 4 doors descended, the water began to boil. The immense pressure made Bao Pe feel uncomfortable. Too strong. He was simply too strong. Although Bao Pe felt uncomfortable, his eyes were filled with excitement. He also wanted to learn this move. Heavenly Sealing Ghost Chart, 4 Gates of Purgatory. Pai Liangjun shouted in a low voice. The 4 doors quickly merged together, and a phantom appeared within the doors. A terrifying aura swept through the black coffin, and the dazzling red needles were instantly broken. Brett's eyes were deep as he said faintly, "The 4 gates of purgatory are really strong. Each gate emits a different attack method that makes up for each other's flaws. It seems like they don't have physical attacks, but only after experiencing them personally will you know how powerful they are." Looking at Brett's intentions, it seemed like he also wanted to test the might of the four gates of purgatory. Who would have thought that this skill would be so incredible? I'm impressed with Water City now, Yu Hua said softly. She had felt bored at first, but after seeing so many heavenly sealing ghost arts, her curiosity was piqued. But it was just curiosity. Right now, Bao Pe had also discovered Qing Yutong and her group. Just now, he really didn't have the time to look at them, but he didn't expect that they would actually be standing there and not running away. They are really courting death. But I can't go over and say anything right now. After all, the matter in front of me is the most important thing. The attack of the four gates of purgatory seemed to have suppressed the abyssal wave, or at least it was unable to react. It is only so, just wait to be turned into a pool of blood, Pai Liangjun said faintly. In his heart, he could not bear to see this happen. After all, this big fellow is also a treasure. Kong Feiqing shouted in a low voice, don't let your guard down, this is burning spirit, how can it be so easy to destroy? Just when Pai Liangjun wanted to refute, the black coffin below him started to shake violently, as if it was going to break free. The four of them shouted at the same time, heavenly sealing ghost chart, imprisonment. Numerous golden ropes wrapped around the black coffin. This fellow is so strong. Kong Feiqing could feel the might that was transmitted over by the ropes. This monster is very powerful. It seems like it is going to break free from the black coffin. Qing Yutong and the others just watched, they did not plan to make a move. Roar! A loud roar shook the black coffin. With a loud bang, the black coffin instantly turned into powder and disappeared into the sea. And the imprisonment on the black coffin dissipated at the same time. The four of them were evidently shocked by the recoil, and bloodstains were flowing out from the corners of their mouths. Although the recoil was not fatal, it was enough to make them exclaim in admiration. Just a single roar was able to make them suffer from the recoil. If it were to become serious, then it would be terrible. Abyss wave once again appeared in everyone's line of sight. The eye below his forehead looked too scary, although it was only one eye. However, the area of the eyes occupied the entire face, so when they opened, they looked very frightening. Four of Abyss Wave's sharp claws pierced towards the four gates of purgatory. The four gates of purgatory were like a powerless little girl, they could only be pierced through, they did not even have the slightest chance to struggle. The four gates of purgatory were instantly destroyed. Meanwhile, Abyss Wave seemed to be a bit angry, one of his eyes stared fixedly at the four of them, seemingly wanting to exterminate them. This eye is a bit similar to mine, Kai Yun said jokingly. Because his main body also had a pair of huge eyes, his eyes were a bit similar to this eye. They are in trouble, Brian said lightly. What happened just now was the best opportunity. If they are unable to get rid of this Abyss Wave would become their nightmare. Abyss Wave's body suddenly leaped high up into the air, then rapidly descended. Disperse! Bao Ci shouted out loudly. The four of them and their pets all dispersed. Boom! When Abyss Wave descended, the entire scene brought about a gigantic underwater tsunami. Everything in front of them was sand, making it impossible to see anything within a meter of them. Qing Yutong smiled, this Abyss Wave sure is smart. Yu Hua smiled, then said lightly, burning spirits are all high-level life forms, they all have their own thoughts, and they use their brains to fight, unlike ancient divine beasts that don't need brains. Right now, Bao Ci was a bit flustered. The aura of an overlord instantly spread out, seemingly wanting to use the pressure that erupted out from his body to blow away the surrounding sand. However, the more he boasted, the more Bao Ci felt helpless. Roar! Bao Ci's mount, the terrifying crocodile, suddenly let out a roar. This kind of roar was not one of excitement, but the kind of roar that was filled with pain. No! Although Bao Ci did not know what happened, he could feel that his mount was in imminent danger. However, the surrounding sand was too dense, it was definitely this Abyss Wave's doing. Does it have such a smart brain? End of this chapter. Chapter 9:13. The terrifying giant crocodile let out a blood-curdling screech, and the entire seabed fell silent. Bao Ci's face darkened, as if he had already sensed it. However, Pai Liangjun was gloating. The death of a mount was a devastating blow to Bao Ci. He was probably even sadder than if his son had died. His son could be reborn, but this prehistoric beast could not, and even more so could not be tamed. This was retribution. It wasn't that the time hadn't come yet. With that thought in mind, Pai Liangjun immediately ordered his steed to leave. He had already lost a son, so he could not lose the prairie-blazing warhorse as well. Kong Feiqing thought so too. He immediately ordered his dragon to leave. He had thought that they would still be able to put up a fight against such a monster, but in the end, they would only be eaten. This was unacceptable. Gradually, the sea of sand began to sink, and the field of vision became clear. However, the four of them looked at the scene in front of them and felt their scalps go numb. To be honest, that terrifying huge crocodile's body size is longer than Abyssal Wave, and it definitely has an advantage in terms of body size. However, in terms of strength, there is a world of difference. The weak were food. Just like now, the Abyssal Waves were currently gnawing on the terrifying giant crocodile. Even the front half of its body was gone, and its huge head was eaten. Bao Ci was infuriated to the extreme when he saw this scene. This was his mount, but now it was eaten alive, and right in front of him. The seawater was immediately suffused with a scarlet color and the smell of blood. This was the scent that Yizizi and Kai Yun liked the most. Just smelling it, it was extremely fragrant. After all, this was the blood of a primordial ferocious beast, and it was also a great tonic. Abyssal Wave was still enjoying his prey. He did not put the four of them in his eyes at all. Such a long and terrifying huge crocodile, in just a few moves, only its tail was left. This is simply unbelievable. Moreover, as the Abyssal Wave ate, its body gradually emitted a golden light. The light looked a little dim, as if this terrifying giant crocodile couldn't fill it up. As the last tail entered his stomach, Abyssal Ocean Wave burped as a snack. However, even if it was just a single burp, a massive wave of air immediately engulfed Bao Ci and the others. The four supreme beings could only passively defend themselves. Father! There's no way we can beat them. Bao Pa said in a low voice. Even the desolate wild beast had been eaten. One had to know that that fella had the strength of a supreme being as well. But all it did was cry out once and it was eaten right into its stomach. The three old men had also clearly felt that they had still underestimated Yi Hua. I thought that I would be able to defeat Yi Hua, but in the end, it was completely not like that. What should we do? Kong Feiqing whispered. Bao Ci and Pai Liangjun remained silent. If they let this monster go, then the people of Water City would suffer. However, the current problem was that if he perished, the people of Water City would continue to suffer. It seemed like the results were all the same. Now, it was time to make a decision on how to deal with this abyssal wave. Such a terrifying creature should not have appeared in the Kangluo continent. It was simply at the level of a bug. No one could defeat it at all. No wonder even the great ancestor could only seal it. It was already the limit for a great desolate era ferocious beast to appear to cause trouble. Now, it was the burning fiend race. What else could they do? I have an idea, Pai Liangjun said in a low voice. What? Lead him to the land. Pai Liangjun said calmly. He would let the mainlanders deal with this monster. After all, the ones who died were not his own people. Bao Pa said in a low voice, this is a good idea. No, this abyssal wave is originally an underwater creature. How can it go to land? Kong Feiqing shook his head. This was simply impossible. Could you let a fish swim on land? He was thinking too much. Then what should we do? Bao Pa was a little anxious. However, just as the four of them were discussing how to deal with the situation, the abyssal sea wave bounced up again and attacked them. That huge impact made everyone's scalp go numb. If they were hit, vomiting blood would be a small matter, and they would probably faint. If Abyssal Ocean Wave only knew these few moves, then he was gravely mistaken. One of the legs actually extended infinitely, and the hair on the leg immediately stood up. It was simply like a primordial divine weapon. Bao Pe, who was running away, turned pale with fright. There was actually a huge phantom image behind him. Bao Pe couldn't care less and could only dodge in a hurry. However, this was the special attack method of Abyssal Wave. The blade-like hair still managed to cut Bao Pe's left arm. His left arm was cleanly cut off in an instant. Abyssal Ocean Wave didn't continue to chase and kept its leg. However, Bao Ci only knew that this fellow was called Abyssal Ocean Wave, and didn't know its full name, Poison Wood. Poof, are you alright? Bao Ci hurriedly checked on his son's injuries. Luckily, it was only a broken arm, there was still a way to deal with it. Bao Pe didn't have much worry. Father, I am fine, it is better to quickly think of a way. You leave first, leave this place to father. Then how? Speaking until here, Bao Pe's eyes suddenly widened, and his eyeballs seemed like they were going to explode. Bao Ci turned his head around and looked at his son confusedly. What happened to you? Bao Pe couldn't say anything, and black objects started appearing on his skin, and his stomach started swelling. Bao Ci was anxious, but he didn't know what to do. Bao Pe's body became incomparably huge, and it seemed like it was going to explode. Bao Ci. Quickly leave. Your is going to explode. Kong Feiqing hurriedly shouted. Pai Liangjun didn't say anything, this can be counted as a bargain. One of my sons died, and one of my mounts died as well. Doesn't this mean that I still made a profit? Father will think of a way for you, don't be anxious. Looking at his son's face that was filled with pain, Bao Ci shouted out anxiously. Then, he struck out one technique after another into his son's body, but it didn't have any effect. Kong Feiqing couldn't care so much anymore, and he hurriedly flew over and pulled Bao Ci away. This is the explosion of an overlord, even if you are an overlord, you will still be implicated. Bao Ci shouted out towards his son, and tears flowed down his face. The explosion that he imagined didn't appear. Pooh! This voice that suddenly appeared caused even Bao Ci to stop shouting out in grief and indignation. Bao Pe's swollen stomach was actually torn apart from the inside. 8 legs were revealed outside his stomach. Looking at this scene, Yi Zizi was suddenly startled. F***K, this is an aberration. This poisonous wood is actually the parent body. Yu Hua went into a daze for a moment, then soon after, she smiled and said, this idea isn't bad, it's more or less like this. Seems like this poisonous wood isn't simple, it actually has this kind of reproduction ability. Kai Yun said faintly. The 3 overlords didn't know that this was a poisonous wood, after all, there weren't any records of this. However, the scene before their eyes had already surpassed their imagination. End of this chapter. Chapter 9:14. Bao Pe was still thinking. He lowered his head and looked at his stomach. His 8 legs were already exposed, and he could even feel his stomach wriggling. Everyone also saw that Bao Pe's stomach was flashing, and under this flash, they could clearly see that there was something inside that swollen stomach, it was even exactly the same as that abyssal wave. His 8 legs gradually exerted force and pulled his belly open, finally revealing his body. Bao Pe's pair of eyes seemed as if they were going to pop out. Just what is going on? In despair, Bob looked at his father helplessly, just like when he was a child. When Bao Ci saw the look in his son's eyes, his heart felt like it was being cut by a knife. This was his own son. The image of Bao Pe as a child appeared in Bao Ci's mind. Those images made Bao Ci feel like he was going crazy. Puff! The miniature abyssal wave finally bounced out, and Bao Pe lost his life at this moment. Even his primordial spirit did not emerge. His entire body slowly fell falling onto the sand. It seemed like the primordial spirit had been transferred to the tiny abyssal wave. Zzzzzzz, the waves in the small abyss emitted a subtle sound. Although it was very subtle, everyone could feel that this fellow actually had the strength of a supreme being. It seemed like he had completely absorbed Bao Pa. How could there be such a monstrous monster? However, when Dumu looked at the remaining 3 people, his huge eyes were filled with desire, as if he wanted to transform these 3 people. Kong Feicheng said in a low voice, "We can't stay here, we have to go back. Call for help." Pai Liangjun nodded his head. Right now, he was basically sending himself to his death. He might even become someone else's sacrifice. If you want to leave, you can leave. I want to avenge my son. Bao Ci was just like Pai Liangjun. How could a father bear to see his son die in front of him? Pai Liangjun shouted coldly, "Do you want to become that little monster and attack the people of Water City?" After saying that, he nodded at Kong Feicheng. The 2 of them carried Bao Ci, and Pai Liangjun took out a scroll. Seeing this situation, Poison Wood's 3 legs immediately rushed over, not intending to let him go. Pai Liangjun hurriedly crushed the scroll, and the 3 of them disappeared, while the 3 legs stabbed the air. Roar! Dumu roared in anger, and his huge eyes immediately looked towards Qing Yutong and the others. It seems like we are going to suffer a calamity. Qing Yutong smiled, and actually began to do gymnastics while sitting down. Finally, there are no more people, and I can finally go onto the stage. Let me. Kai Yun rolled up his sleeves, looking as if he was saying, "Don't fight with me over this. It's not easy for me to encounter a burning spirit, so I can properly play with him. I'll do it." Yi Zizi snorted. How could she miss something so fun? Brett said lightly, "You 2 kids go to the side." Old woman, who are you calling a child? I'm talking about you, airport. Brett pouted. Yi Zizi was speechless. 2 water balls fell on my chest. That's incredible. Who would like that? Hee hee, it's fine as long as my absolute heaven likes it. At the very least, it's better than your fried egg. No one likes it, Brett said with a look of disdain. Yi Zizi flew into a rage. Who are you calling a fried egg? I'll beat you up. Yutong, don't stop me. I didn't stop you. Qing Yutong raised both of her hands up high, and with the look of, "If you want to go, then go ahead, don't say that I am stopping you." Yi Zizi snorted, "If your wife doesn't allow it, I'll break those 2 water balls of yours today." Hee hee, are you jealous of me, fried egg? You. Stop, stop, stop. Qing Yutong couldn't take it anymore. These 2 people start scolding each other whenever they are together, I really can't take it anymore. Looking at Poison Wood, all of them had a puzzled look on their faces. Can't you give me face? Let's play rock paper scissors, how about it? Qing Yutong felt that this was the way to give Poison Wood face. Everyone nodded their heads, but Yu Hua didn't want to participate. Yu Hua, you come as well. The 2 of us have a higher chance of winning. You win, or should I go? Kai Yun was rather smart, pulling Yu Hua along to play rock paper scissors. Yu Hua had no other choice, she could only do this. Rock paper scissors. Rock paper scissors. Rock paper scissors. The 5 women started playing, and Poison Wood, who was at the side, watched on blankly. That gaze of his was filled with rage. I'm actually being looked down upon, and what's more, I'm being looked down upon by 5 women. They are actually acting as if they are joking with me and don't put me in their eyes at all. However, not far away, there were still 2 figures that did not leave. That was Qi Shuwen and Abalone Fish. Husband, let's go, my big brother, woo. Abalone Fish had seen everything just now, and she was extremely sad. Qi Shuwen hugged onto Abalone Fish and consoled her in a low voice, "Wait a while more, we still have to go and collect Big Brother's corpse." Abalone Fish went into a daze, and was instantly moved. "Husband, you are really too good. How would Qi Shuwen even have the intention to go and collect the corpse? I just want to go and pick up some leftovers and see if there are any treasures left. Bao Po's 7 ministers seem to still be there, I can take them away. However, these 5 women are actually playing rock paper scissors, I simply can't take it anymore, those idiots. We're all deceived by these 5 women. Husband, what are they doing? Abalone Fish asked curiously. They are. I reckon that they are sending someone to the stage. Ah. Why, did they decide to fight one-on-one? I don't know either. The 2 looked towards a place not far away. Old woman, you can't do it, hurry up and scram. Yi Zizi cheered, expressing that she was very excited. Kill all of them. Kai Yun was unhappy and snuggled into Yu Hua's embrace. Yu Hua even had to comfort Kai Yun in a low voice. Qing Yutong, on the other hand, didn't mind, she just wanted to see how Yi Zizi was going to completely oppress them. Yi Zizi took a deep breath, then yawned. The white princess dress that she was wearing on her body added a unique flavor to it. When Abalone Fish saw Yi Zizi walking out, she cried out in surprise, "My God, is she preparing to go and fight by herself? That abalone sea wave is so big, and she is so small." Size is not important, what is important is strength. Qi Shuwen said gravely. You are right, but are they that powerful? You will know after you see. Yi Zizi slowly walked into the air, then pointed at Dumu, you better let me get excited, if not I will suck you to death. Dumu didn't know how to speak, if not, he would definitely ridicule Yi Zizi right now. You little thing, there is basically no need for me to make a move. The small Dumu could be seen charging towards Yi Zizi while carrying the aura of a supreme being. The small Dumu's 8 legs were like blades. Although it was a small Dumu, the poison within its body was not to be underestimated. The huge impact of the small Dumu's attack caused Yi Zizi's ponytail to dance crazily, and even Yi Zizi's fringe was messed up. End of chapter. Chapter 9:15. They actually sent a little one over, so gutless. Yi Zizi's ponytails shot out like arrows. Little Poison Wood's eyes seemed to be filled with contempt, and it still didn't change its posture. The 4 women who were watching the show sighed. They actually wanted to see Yi Zizi make a fool of herself so that they could ridicule her in the future. But this Little Poison Wood was a bit retarded, actually baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. Can't it use some brains? The hair directly pierced into Little Poison Wood's abdomen, and Little Poison Wood's eyes were filled with doubt, as if it didn't understand why hair could pierce through its defense, it simply didn't make sense. However, Little Poison Wood didn't even have time to react, and the blood essence in its body began to rapidly disappear. The speed was so fast that Little Poison Wood's big eyes revealed a look of horror. Its 8 legs could be seen stretching out, seemingly wanting to cut off the hair. Clang clang clang. Waves of metallic sounds could be heard, but it was completely useless. Yi Zizi slightly narrowed her eyes and said, although it's a bit disgusting, this blood essence is quite pure. It was a supreme after all, and Yi Zizi hadn't tasted it for a long time, so of course she felt that it was delicious. Qi Shuwen and Abalone were dumbfounded when they saw this scene. She. What is she doing? Abalone was incomparably terrified. Originally, he thought that this girl was very cute, especially those ponytails, which added a childlike charm to her. But now, there was no childlike charm at all, it was full of terror. Those cute ponytails actually became longer, directly piercing into Little Poison Wood's abdomen, making one's scalp go numb. One was disgusting, one was cute. But Abalone felt that this cute one was even more terrifying. I don't know either. Qi Shuwen was also a bit dumbfounded. Just who is this little loli? She's actually so powerful. That Little Poison Wood has the strength of a supreme, could it be that this little loli can crush a supreme? Or could it be that all 5 women can crush a supreme? This is too shocking. Seeing that Yi Zizi was currently eating, Kaiyun fiercely swallowed his saliva. This is delicious, especially that big guy. In 2 breaths' time, little Poison Wood's body became withered. Yizizi retracted her ponytails and licked the corner of her mouth. If I add some ketchup, the taste should be even better. Everyone, roar. Dumu, who had been in a daze, finally reacted. His entire body shot forward, his huge body seemingly about to crush Yizizi's body. Compared to the Poison Wood, Yizizi was like an ant. Yizizi stood still as she watched the Poison Wood crash towards her. She even had a smile on her face. Boom! The poisonous wood and Yizizi collided fiercely, causing the entire seabed to tremble slightly. Qi Shuwen and Abalone stared blankly at the scene in front of them. Their jaws almost dropped to the ground. The strength of this poisonous tree was enough to make one's hair stand on end. Even the 3 Supremes chose to temporarily retreat and think of a way to deal with it. However, at this time, this poisonous tree, was actually sent flying by me. How could he accept this? Even Abalone was rubbing his eyes hard, unable to believe what was happening in front of him. Boom! The huge body of the poison tree landed on the sand, raising a wave of sand. Yizizi's body was like a cannonball as she shot towards the poisonous tree. Her petite body was instantly submerged in the sand. Then you can hear it. Boom boom boom, the entire ground was shaking. Even the people in Water City could feel it. Right now, the expressions of the 3 Supremes who escaped were very bad. What should we do? If this abyss wave comes over, we won't be able to defend at all. Kong Feiqing said anxiously. This was a disaster for Water City. Feeling the ground shaking, Pai Liangjun gasped for breath. His expression was very bad, and he didn't express any opinion. Meanwhile, Bao Ci, who just saw his son die in front of him, had yet to recover from the sorrowful atmosphere. Say something, are all of you mute? Kong Feiqing roared anxiously. Bao Ci shouted out angrily, try and see if you still have the mood to care about other things after your son dies. Kong Feiqing didn't know what to say. The 2 of them had both lost a son, and this was indeed a huge blow to their hearts. Especially that he was actually treated as a host, and that Pai fell into the magma, and not even his bones remained. Even Bao Ci's mount was eaten by the abyss wave. This blow was one after another, how could the others accept it? This is simply too cruel. Suddenly, the ground slightly trembled. Not good. Kong Feiqing said gravely. Bao Ci and Pai Liangjun both felt that this should be the aura of the abyss wave. How much longer are you all going to remain passive? If the abyss wave comes over, we will all be finished. At that time, Water City will become a dead city. Kong Feiqing shouted out angrily. Even at this time, they still have the attitude of wanting to give up. With this attitude, how can they possibly win against the abyss wave? Pai Liangjun said gravely, borrowing the power of the star cannon should be able to be of use. The other 2 nodded their heads. Right now, we will have to rely on the star cannon on the city wall. Let's hope that this star cannon will be able to be of use. After all, this star cannon is something left behind by the old ancestor. Damn, just what kind of person is your old ancestor? Are all these things so good? The 3 Supremes stood on the city wall and stared into the darkness. They were a bit panicked, because the other party wasn't an ordinary monster, it was an especially abnormal monster. Even on the city wall, there were slight tremors. The 3's expressions were grave, and they didn't dare to be distracted. They can only strive to defeat the abyss wave, if not, the entire Water City would be doomed. Furthermore, they can't talk about the final distribution, because they have to defeat the abyss wave first. However, right now, it was Yizizi's one-sided abuse time. Within that petite body of hers, there seemed to be something even more terrifying hidden within. Right now, Dumu was a bit dazed from the beating, and he looked at Yizizi with one of his eyes, revealing I don't understand, but I feel that it's awesome, I feel that I shouldn't be beaten up to this state, why am I being beaten up like this? I am a burning spirit, a Dumu. How can the overlord of the sea be beaten up by a brat? This is completely impossible. This is impossible. Qi Shuwen and Baoyu's bodies stiffened. That girl actually beat up Dumu. Furthermore, it was that kind of beating up, just like a kindergarten kid bullying a baby. It was completely crushing without any difficulty at all. This isn't fake, the girl who scared away the three supremes just now should be real. This is what an actor is. At least, this was what Qi Shuwen comforted himself. Dumu, who was dazed from the beating, suddenly let out a strange groan. The groan was a bit ear-piercing, just like a sonar. Yi Zizi, on the other hand, took a few steps back. I feel that Dumu is most likely going to use a big move. End of this chapter. Chapter 9:16. Poisonwood fiercely looked at Yi Zizi with one of his eyes, as if he wanted to swallow Yi Zizi alive. And Yi Zizi was the same as well. After I am done playing with this thing, I will eat this thing in front of me. This feels great. This fellow is so big, so thick, so strong. The taste is definitely not bad. I should be able to eat until I am 30% full. I should be able to. PFFF. Everyone was shocked. This Poisonwood's eyeball actually popped out. This is too scary. Is this unintentional or intentional? If it is unintentional, then it is a bit sloppy. Is this fellow so scared that his eyeball popped out? However, the reality was not like that. That huge eyeball rolled onto the sand, looking especially terrifying. When the eyeball rolled out, that huge body seemed to have lost some kind of power, and the body actually gradually shrunk, just like a burnt spider, and was even shrinking infinitely. Not only was the body shrinking, even that eye was shrinking, becoming a normal size. Yi Zizi was also confused. What is this Poisonwood doing? Not only Yi Zizi was confused, Kai Yun and Yu Hua were also confused, not understanding what was going on. Husband, what is going on? Abalone asked curiously. Qi Shuwen felt that if he was unable to answer, it would be a very embarrassing thing. After all, when Abalone Yu asked him in the past, he was like an encyclopedia, and was able to answer everything. Therefore, he had to answer it now. Even if it was nonsense. Husband, you don't even know? Of course I know. Qi Shuwen hurriedly said, and in his mind, he was currently thinking about how he was going to bullshit. Then husband, tell me, don't tease me anymore. Abalone Yu hurriedly asked. Seeing this monster being beaten to such a state, at least I managed to take revenge for my big brother. Qi Shuwen's face sunk, and just like a philosopher, he said, just now, this monster let out a strange sound. It should be summoning its companions. Then why did it make its eyeball pop out? This doesn't make sense, right? Qi Shuwen said inwardly, what do I know? Who knows why it wants to make its eyeball pop out? Is there something wrong with its brain? This is actually a type of secret signal. Maybe this eyeball belongs to someone else. Qi Shuwen bullshit again. There is no helping it. The preparations in the beginning were too good, and it was the same now. Abalone thought for a moment. Husband, you are really too smart. After saying that, she rewarded him with a kiss. Qi Shuwen even had the heart to die. Don't ask me any more questions in the future, please, especially this kind of problem that he didn't know the answer to. However, at this moment, at the edge of the magma, a palm suddenly stretched out and slapped the sea rock. Qin Yutong and the others immediately looked towards the magma, and their gazes revealed a look of curiosity. However, that palm instantly melted the sea stone. Then, with a plop, it sank again. The corners of Qin Yutong and the others' mouths twitched. I have already mentally prepared myself, and yet, this is what you are going to show me. I thought that there would be a deeper and more imposing entrance. In the end, it sank again with a plop. Wasn't it very embarrassing? I'm just asking if you feel very embarrassed. Ha 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 ha. Kai Yun took the lead and started laughing loudly, and Qin Yutong followed closely behind him. Even Yi Zizi was laughing to the point that she was holding on to her stomach. This was the scene of the final boss's appearance. The heavy atmosphere had been rendered very well, but in the end, it was all gone. The thriller had suddenly turned into a comedy. This change was too serious. It caught everyone off guard. You are truly 2F** King outstanding. Just as everyone was bursting into laughter, a figure suddenly rushed out from the magma. That's right, this was a figure. This figure had a head, legs, and hands, and its entire body was filled with magma, just like those lava men. Not sure why, Qing Yutong felt that this lava man was forcefully doing this, and once again exaggerating the way it appeared. After all, it was a bit embarrassing just now. One must know, the correct way just now was like this. A hand slapped onto the sea rock, and everyone would be shocked for a moment, wondering what that thing was. Then, it slowly walked out, and once that kind of terrifying aura was emitted, it would make people retreat. It was a pity that such a thing didn't happen. The sea rock melted, and the lava man sunk into the magma. Therefore, the lava man flew out from the magma and forcefully performed this scene. The lava man could be seen flying out from the magma and steadily standing on the sea sand. Although its expression couldn't be seen, it was reckoned to be very serious. But, ha 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 ha. Brett started laughing, and Kai Yun was already cramping in Yu Hua's embrace from laughing. Yi Zizi didn't even want to fight anymore, this fellow is here to be a joke. Even Abalone was amused by the lava man. However, Qi Shuwen was a bit stupefied. He guessed it correctly. This is too mystical. Husband, you are truly too smart, Qi Shuwen took in a deep breath, I also know a lot of things. And my husband is indeed formidable. Being praised by his wife, Qi Shuwen felt a bit smug. The laughter continued, and looking at Yi Zizi who was in the sky, Qi Shuwen laughed until he slapped his thigh. Kai Yun felt that he was going to faint from laughing too much. Qing Yutong couldn't help but shout out, handsome, you stepped on your own eye, ha ha ha. It would have been fine if Qing Yutong didn't say it, but after Qing Yutong said it, everyone laughed even more happily. The lava man went into a daze for a moment, then lowered its head and moved its leg away. A poached egg could be seen imprinted on the lava man's leg, and there was even a bit of a roasted smell. That's right, the lava man indeed had the suspicion of wanting to act cool. Originally, I had already thought of a way to appear, but in the end, therefore, I changed it to jumping, and this time, I stepped on my own eye until it exploded. Isn't this even more awkward? Slowly, the magma on the lava man's body receded, and white skin was revealed. The entire body, there was something strange, because, I don't know if the lava man is male or female. If the lava man is male, then, what about little Pio? Then, if the lava man is female, the chest muscles are flat, and the hair on the legs, are they serious? So thick, the face is also very androgynous, but it's a braised egg, bald head. When Yi Zizi saw this appearance of the lava man, she immediately flew into Qing Yutong's embrace, expressing that she doesn't want to fight anymore. This is the funniest enemy that I have ever seen. He doesn't even need to fight at all, he can directly make the other party laugh to death. The lava man slightly bent down and picked up his poached egg. If one were to look carefully, at the center of the lava man's forehead, there was a closed eye. And this eye was placed precisely inside the lava man's eye. It's a pity that the lava man was stomped into a poached egg by me. Not only did I fail to act cool, I ended up being F***ed by myself instead. The lava man slowly turned around and looked towards the 5 women. His eyes were filled with violence, and his fists immediately emitted out a terrifying aura. It was undeniable that if this punch were to land, it would definitely hit the target. End of this chapter. Chapter 9:17. Lu Dan's heart was filled with thousands of curses. That poisonous wood had been feeding my eyes for so many years, yet, however, he had stepped on it, and it had been cooked. It looked like a fried egg, and he had even been laughed at by the 5 women. Look at them, they seem to be dying of laughter. How could it be so easy to be laughed to death? You must pay the price. But just as the egg was about to attack, the 5 women actually rushed over together. This made the braised egg turn from offense to defense. You want to sneak attack me? How is that possible? You are looking down on me too much. However, these 5 women. He was actually humiliating her. There really isn't. Kai-yun stared at it, then said in a low voice. He even flicked it with his finger. Qing Yutong patted on that bald head. This bald head is really bright, it's a bit reflective. This leg hair is also real. Then tell me, is it a man or a woman? I can't tell. Since I can't tell, I'll call you a transvestite. That's true. He's neither a man nor a woman. He's just a transvestite, Kai-yun said seriously as he stroked his chin. Lu Dan felt unwell. This was the first time. Encountering such a situation, these people were actually observing him at such a close distance, and that little girl actually had a finger flick. She actually bounced once. Do you think I can tolerate it? Obviously, he could not tolerate it. So I want blood for blood. What is your name? Qing Yutong asked curiously. My name is Ren Yao. Ren Yao blurted it out reflexively. After saying it, she felt something was wrong. Why did she tell them? They were his enemies. He wanted to crush their bodies and let them know that there was a price to pay for laughing at someone. Let's fight. You bunch of trash. Ren Yao. Hearing such a name, the 5 women confirmed their thoughts. He was indeed a transvestite. Why aren't you wearing any clothes? It's very rude to be naked. Kai-yun pursed his lips, looking as if he was saying, you're not a cultured person. The other 4 also revealed looks of disdain. Exhibitionist. I have no manners. When Ren Yao heard this, she almost went crazy. Who was the rude one? Who stared at others like that? Furthermore, who would come out of the magma with clothes on? Could they have some common sense? Seems like I have to let you know what common sense is. Hey, where are you from? Why would it appear from here? Yi Zizi asked curiously. Since this person could make her laugh, she had a good impression of him. After all, he was a joker. Ren Yao decided not to answer. I, Ren Yao, also want face. If I say it just because you want me to say it, wouldn't I lose face? Seeing that Ren Yao did not say anything, Kai-yun mumbled, so she's an orphan. Ren Yao was speechless. Orphan my ass, your whole family is the orphans. Which eye of yours sees me as an orphan? Looks like I'll have to teach you a lesson with my fists. Flag Master, you can't say he's an orphan. That's very rude. Yu Hua started to teach him carefully. Oh, got it. Humph. You know your wrongs now, but it's already too late. You will die under my fist, and your souls will tremble, unable to be redeemed. Yu Hua sighed softly. Others have cultivated until they are bald. It's obvious that they are very hardworking. Bald? Ren Yao felt her whole body trembling. I just haven't grown it yet. Which eye of yours saw that I'm bald? Come, let's shoot our mouths. It's not the Mediterranean Sea yet. Brett said faintly. What is the Mediterranean Sea? Ren Yao felt curious. Seeing that even Ren Yao was curious, Qing Yutong patiently explained the meaning of the Mediterranean Sea. Ren Yao felt that she was going to go crazy. Just what kind of mentality do they have, to actually still be provoking me? Don't they know that my fists are very scary? A hole might be opened up on your stomach, and it's the kind of hole that can't be filled up. Are you guys afraid or not? Quickly look, the eye that was crushed should be placed in the middle. Yi Zizi pointed at the space between Ren Yao's eyebrows and said. Qing Yutong let out a light sigh, you are too careless, you just had to crush your own egg. Wrong, you roasted your own egg, why bother? Qing Yutong patted onto Ren Yao's shoulder, with a look on her face, that kind of pain was not something that an ordinary person could endure. That's right, such a beautiful egg, and it was crushed just like that. Kai Yun also felt that it was a pity. Hearing the 5 women feeling that it was a pity, Ren Yao felt a bit emotional. The egg that I raised for so long, wrong. When did it become an egg? It was clearly just my eye, alright? These women that are messing around, I want to let them know how big, how thick, and how powerful my fists are. He cried. Brett said in a low voice. Ah! Yu Hua cried out in surprise. The 5 women directly looked towards Ren Yao's eyes, and within those eyes, there were tears. Ren Yao's heart was about to explode. You guys are making things up out of nothing. When did I cry? I obviously didn't cry. I, Ren Yao, have never lowered my head before, and I have never cried before. However, upon thinking about my own egg, Ren Yao's heart ached. Pay attention next time. If you fail to act cool, then you are called an idiot. If you succeed in acting cool, then you are called awesome. Yi Zizi said attentively. Just like you today, you were obviously acting like an idiot. Although your actions were wrong, it is undeniable that you made me laugh. You are still very successful. Do you want to learn how to act cool? Qing Yutong's eyebrows twitched, and with a look of, acknowledge me as your big brother, I will teach you how to act cool. Ren Yao was shocked. I, Ren Yao, have acted cool countless times in my life. Do I still need you to teach me? Today was just a mistake. If you have the ability to do it again, I guarantee that I will let you all broaden your horizons. Kai Yun said, be at ease. If you follow us, you will be our little brother. Only if I am King sick would I follow you all. Ren Yao, I'm going to get rid of you all today, and wash away the humiliation with blood. Which unit are you from? Brett asked curiously. Which unit? Ren Yao had a puzzled look on his face. Yi Zizi snorted, old woman, don't use such advanced vocabulary, he won't understand. Ren Yao's face immediately sunk. They are actually looking down on me again. And you are still saying that I, Ren Yao, won't understand. How is that possible? Isn't it just a unit? My unit, what is that? I really don't understand. Qing Yutong waved her hand, alright, both of you speak less, can't you see that this? Comrade Ren Yao is very angry. Hee, at least you have some knowledge, to be able to know that I am angry. I will leave your corpse intact later. Usually, only stingy people would be angry. Kai Yun pouted her small mouth and said. The hell? She actually said that I, Ren Yao, am a stingy person. Am I, Ren Yao, that kind of person? I, Ren Yao, am a person who has the world in his heart. Would I get angry over such a small matter? Definitely not. End of this chapter. Chapter 9:18. Kai Yun stretched out his hand and plucked another strand of Ren Yao's leg hair, then said with a smile, like I said, how could other people get angry? Ren Yao took a deep breath, then shouted out in her heart, I'm not angry. I'm not angry, how could I get angry? Only a child would get angry. Indeed, he is a person with magnanimity. Yu Hua nodded her head. However, the 5 women were laughing so hard in their hearts. To actually not have any reaction even after doing this, I'm afraid that this boss is a bit of a chinibu. Is he so easy to deceive? This is too interesting. Why were you under the magma? Did someone lock you up? Qing Yutong asked curiously. This kind of curiosity made Ren Yao a bit moved. That's right, Ren Yao misunderstood. She thought that Qing Yutong was only asking because she was concerned about me. What a good person. I don't know. Ren Yao's reply made the 5 women go into a daze. I actually don't know. Come, let's sit at the side and chat. Brett said faintly. It was not suitable for them to stand at the side. Afterward, the 6 of them sat at the spectator seats at the side. This made Qi Shuwen and Bao Yu dumbfounded. Is this even possible? Such a powerful person was taken care of by us with just words. How can we accept this? He is definitely a trash boss, or he is an idiot. Husband, let's quickly leave. Bao Yu said tenderly, we can't stay here any longer. However, Qi Shuwen was still looking at Bao Po's corpse. There should be quite a few good things inside, if we leave right now. However, if we send Bao Yu away right now, we will definitely be suspected in the future. Husband, don't say any more. I know you definitely want to go and help, but the other party is too strong. Even if we go, we won't be able to help. Qi Shuwen went into a daze for a moment, then put on a heroic spirit. Sharky, if this monster appears in Water City, it will definitely cause trouble. Right now, I am your husband, I have the responsibility to bear this danger. Hearing that, Bao Yu went into a daze. Without caring so much, she directly kissed towards Qi Shuwen, feeling proud. Qi Shuwen felt so painful in his heart. After a long time, Bao Yu softly said, my husband, I know what you are thinking, but let's go. I won't blame you, you are the hero in my heart. Qi Shuwen still put on a pained expression, as if he wanted to die here. Bao Yu had no choice but to directly drag Qi Shuwen and leave. That resentful gaze of Qi Shuwen. I really feel heartache for Bao Po's corpse. However, in the audience stands, there was a question being asked. If you don't know why you're here, do you remember who locked you up here? Yu Hua gently asked. This person's strength was very strong, much stronger than Du Mu. This was undeniable, but such a powerful person was sealed here, it was incomprehensible. Ren Yao raised her head slightly at a 45-degree angle, as if she didn't want her tears to fall. He was thinking too much. He was just creating a deep atmosphere, as if he had a story to tell. The 5 women just waited like that. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, Yi Zizi couldn't take it anymore. Raising her hand, she slapped onto her bald head, speak. Why did you hit my head, you shameless thing? Ren Yao expressed that she was very angry, she couldn't accept such humiliation. Thus, Ren Yao suddenly stood up, I'm going to use my fist, to let you know. Me. Ren Yao. No. Right after the word no was said, Ren Yao disappeared. Yi Zizi waved her fist. This person is truly asking for a beating, to actually play deep with us. Boom. A loud sound suddenly burst out, and the mountains at the side could be seen instantly collapsing. After a long time, the mountains finally calmed down, and Ren Yao laid within the ruins blankly. What happened just now? Sneak attack. That hateful little girl actually sneak attacked me. I, Ren Yao, want to let her know how terrible the consequences of sneak attacking me are. I'll blow your head apart with a single punch. Ren Yao's body immediately rushed over, her speed was so fast that it actually created a sonic boom at the bottom of the sea. The scene could be said to be spectacular. Yi Zizi snorted, to actually compete with my fist, even his honor doesn't know how to do it. Yi Zizi didn't cower in the slightest, her small body rushed over, and just like that, her embroidered big fist smashed onto Yi Zizi. The 2 fists collided into each other at the bottom of the sea. There was a loud bang. The entire underwater world seemed to have quietened down. However, a ferocious wave of air immediately spread outwards, and the center of the explosion was flattened. However, this wave of air attacked towards Water City, and its aura didn't weaken at all. However, this was merely the wave of air that was created when the 2 fists collided. On top of Water City's wall. It's coming. Bao Ci said gravely. Activate the shield. Pai Liangjun shouted out lightly. The 3 overlords began forming hand seals, and the moves that they used were ever-changing. Afterward, the 3 overlords shouted out in unison, Heavenly Sealing Ghost Art, Defense. A golden figure could be seen condensing on top of the city wall, and the figure was flickering. Looking at the wave of air that was coming towards them from afar, the 3 overlords were very astonished. That abyssal wave was actually so powerful, seems like we have still underestimated it. Fortunately, we ran away quickly, if not, we would definitely have died. Kong Feicheng still had lingering fear in his heart. That's right, this kind of attack is too powerful. Bao Ci said in a low voice. To actually attack with pressure, the attack is indeed ferocious. Pai Liangjun let out a breath. Fortunately, we have a countermeasure, but what should we do when the wave of air attacks us? Then, we can only fight with our backs against the wall. Bao Ci's gaze became focused. In that case, we can only use our trump card. Pai Liangjun and Kong Feicheng nodded their heads. This is the only way. In a blink of an eye, the terrifying wave of air fiercely collided onto the city wall, and the golden light on the city wall illuminated the entire underwater world. A surging power spread out from the city wall, and the city wall actually managed to withstand the ferocious wave of air. However, the golden light on the city wall became much dimmer, and it was clear that the city wall wouldn't be able to withstand the next attack. One must know that this was a technique that 3 overlords worked together to unleash. However, they didn't expect that this was just the wave of air that exploded out from the clash of fists, and it wasn't an attack at all. If they were to know about this, they would definitely cry until they fainted in the toilet. At the scene, Yi Zizi held her breath, and then, Ren Yao disappeared again. In actuality, it wasn't that Ren Yao wasn't strong, a portion of her strength was stored within that eye, and in the end, that eye was crushed by me. If not, how could she have ended up in such a sorry state? However, from this point, it could be seen that this Ren Yao was indeed very strong. After all, she was still able to stand up under Yi Zizi's fists. If it was someone else, that person would have been beaten to death long ago. How terrifying! However, the current Ren Yao wasn't calm at all. Lying on the huge crater, while looking at the little girl that was not far away, Ren Yao was endlessly shocked. End of this chapter. Chapter 9:19. How could she be so strong? Even if he was at the peak of his strength, he would have to deal with it properly in order to have a chance of winning. However, with his current strength, he had no chance at all. Oh my God! How was this possible? She was actually provoking him, curling her finger at him. This action of hers was a bit frivolous. Little girls should pay attention to their appearance. Ren Yao wasn't a coward either. With a clap of his hands, he shot out explosively. Even after being punched twice by Yi Zizi, he was still as lively as a tiger. What a character! Seeing that Ren Yao was still able to stand up, Yi Zizi clenched her fist, and a surge of energy gathered in her fist. This caused Ren Yao's expression to darken. Although her aura remained the same, she was frightened to death in her heart. If this punch landed on her, it would definitely pinch her in the chest. Therefore, a wise man does not fight when the odds are against him. Why don't we sit down and talk? Ren Yao said softly. Why would adults fight? Only children would fight. Adults would deal with problems rationally. Let's talk after the fight. I'm still excited. Yi Zizi expressed that the sandbag was fine, but she wasn't sure if it could take the next punch. Actually, I'm not feeling well today. Why don't we do it another day? Ren Yao forced herself to act. She clutched her chest as if she was having a heart attack and urgently needed a cardio reliever. Yi Zizi's eyes turned cold, and her face became extremely distorted. In front of Ren Yao, that fist was no longer a fist. Instead, it was death. Boom! Yi Zizi's punch landed on Ren Yao's forehead, but it didn't land. A huge astral wind began to sweep through the bottom of the sea. The people standing on the city wall also felt the astral wind. They're here. Bao Ci said in a deep voice. The other two looked at the incoming astral winds with vigilance, not daring to respond at all. Along with a muffled sound, the astral wind touched the city wall, once again emitting a golden radiance. It was dazzling and beautiful. However, the golden light only shone for a while before it gradually weakened and disappeared. However, the astral winds did not disappear completely. The 3 supreme beings had no choice but to release their battle chi once again. The battle chi within their bodies was also being rapidly consumed. They were truly worried that they wouldn't be able to deal with the upcoming situation. After dealing with this gale with much difficulty, the three primes were very worried about what would happen next. They all took medicinal pills and quickly recovered their strength. However, what happened next? Ren Yao was a bit unable to remain calm. Looking at the small fist that was in front of her forehead, she shivered. Although the punch didn't hit him, the sea behind him was split apart. How could this girl be so strong? Yi Zizi waved her little hand. Do you still want to jump around? Don't dance anymore. Ren Yao swallowed her saliva. Since you are so strong, why didn't you tell me earlier? If you had told me earlier, would I still have resisted, and I even got beaten up, and even got scared just now. This little fellow is too bad. What are you waiting for? Come over and chat with me. Alright. I'll be right there. Ren Yao didn't dare to stay any longer. Just one of them was already extremely powerful. What about the other four? Wouldn't they be able to overturn the heavens? The six of them sat down again. Ren Yao placed her hands on her knees and looked straight ahead. She didn't dare to make any other movements. He would never think about crushing them with his fists again, because he didn't have the strength to do so. Where did you come from? Qing Yutong asked while hugging onto Yi Zizi. I don't know. Go punch him again. Yi Zizi was very willing to do so. Big brother, I really don't know, I only remember my name, Anne. Ren Yao hurriedly explained. You bunch of savage women, it wasn't easy for me to run out. How did you end up like this? This isn't my plot at all. What else? Brett asked in a deep voice. Also, I'm a guardian. Ren Yao said in a low voice, seemingly very embarrassed. Qing Yutong was startled. This is a guardian. Last time at Azure Dragon Empire, I seem to have met a guardian too. What is his name? Su Jiao. He is also a very strong person. I even went easy on him that day. Tsk Kai Yun pouted his mouth. You are also called a guardian? You are simply too weak. Whoever asks you to protect will suffer. Ren Yao lowered her head and didn't say a word, as if she received a blow. This girl is right, I was beaten up, and I still want to protect my ass. Yu Hua said tenderly, Flag Master, you can't say it like that, it will give a blow to other people's hearts. Ren Yao responded, expressing that she gave me a blow just now. Qing Yutong hurriedly asked, then, what are you protecting? You couldn't have forgotten about it, right? I don't remember. Ren Yao pursed her lips, then said soon after, I am so weak, I have already lost the qualifications to be a guardian. Brett said faintly, it is not that you are too weak, it is that we are too strong. That's right, you must not have this kind of thinking, you are still very strong, at least to others. Yu Hua followed up and said, practically consoling this final boss. Ren Yao was very touched, these are all good people. Thank you all of you are good people, it is me who is too weak, I don't have the face to go and be a guardian. Such a weak guardian, if I were to say it out, it would also be a joke. Right now, Qing Yutong thought of that Su Jiao, that man is ice, cold, and this one, is filled with a Chinibyu aura. The contrast between their personalities is truly quite big. If talking about strength, of course that Su Jiao is more powerful. This one also stomped his eyes into an omelette, if not, he would also be the same as Su Jiao, what a pity, but even so, his strength is still very terrifying. After all, to be able to withstand 2 punches from Yi Zizi, although he didn't use any strength, it was still a kind of achievement. Qing Yutong asked curiously, then, do you have a place that you want to go to right now? From what brother-in-law said, although this guardian had lost his memories, he seemed to have an obsession in his heart, and that was where he wanted to go. I don't want to go to any place right now, I am too weak. Ren Yao said dejectedly. Yi Zizi once again beat a person into autistic. This kind of simple and crude beating was indeed very easy to beat a person into autistic. Ren Yao let out a long sigh, good people, you all can leave, just let my soul repent here, when I finish my training, I will come out of the mountain. Hearing what Yizizi said, the expressions of the 5 women changed. After all this time, you actually want us to leave, and then you can be lawless by yourself. As expected, you are shameless enough, you have more brains than that Su Diao. Zizi, beat him up. Qing Yutong shouted coldly. Alright, why do you all want to bully me? I am just a little weak, how can you blame me for being weak? What did I do wrong? Could it be that having a weak strength is also a kind of sin? If that's the case, then I will add a sin on top of a sin. Come, humiliate my body as much as you want, if my body can please you all, I am willing to offer my body. The 5 women, end of this chapter. Chapter 920. When this fellow became coquettish, Yang Haotian had nothing to do with it at all. If these 2 coquettish were to walk together, who would be more coquettish? He was really curious. I'm the worst guardian. Ren Yao sighed softly. No. Compared to being a lousy guardian, it's rare to have a coquettish air. Qing Yutong said with a light smile. What was that saying again? Men just have to be coquettish. Look at brother-in-law, he is very coquettish. During the day, he would act like a gentleman and a boss, but at night, he would transform into a wolf. Brother-in-law was a coquettish type of man. He was especially coquettish in character. Hearing Qing Yutong's words, Ren Yao felt very gloomy. She didn't even try to console me, and actually said that I'm coquettish. How am I, Ren Yao, coquettish? Even if I want to be coquettish, I still have to be coquettish, it's not like I have a guy to be coquettish. Yutong, let's go. There's nothing fun here. Those 2 people who just left will definitely expose us, Yu Hua said softly. There was no longer a need to stay. Qing Yutong also didn't plan to continue staying here. Alright, we can leave now. Hearing the 5 women's words, Ren Yao was overjoyed. They were finally going to leave. Hurry up and leave. If you guys are here, I feel like a salted fish. A salted fish without any strength. I'll be beaten up by you guys. By the way, that guy is still locked up, right? Brett said as he looked at Yizizi. It was as if he was saying, aren't you going to save him? Yizizi snorted coldly. What does that have to do with me? You'd better die. Kaiyun narrowed his eyes and said, in any case, she confessed to you passionately that night, and even carved schwanger on her hand. Wow, it's really unforgettable. I don't want to talk to you. Yizizi said and rushed forward. She felt that they could talk about this for the rest of their lives. Right now, there are only these few people, when I go back, those people, just thinking about it makes my scalp numb. It's all that Yang Haotian's fault, why didn't he just go and die? Let's go as well, Brett said faintly as he dashed forward. Ren Yao was laughing to death in her heart. Leave quickly. You savage women, unreasonable women. There was no way to communicate at all. Yu Hua, Kaiyun, the 2 of you go up first, wait for me to bring that Yang Haotian up. Qing Yutong felt that Yang Haotian had also put in a lot of effort, and now that he was captured, they couldn't just ignore him, right? Alright. Yu Hua and Kaiyun also left, and in an instant, only Qing Yutong and Ren Yao remained. Ren Yao sat upright and seemed to be a bit nervous, thinking to herself, why aren't you leaving yet? Quickly leave. Follow me, help me bring a person out. Qing Yutong said lightly. Bring people? Who are you bringing? Bring someone as coquettish as you. The corner of Qing Yutong's mouth hooked up into a trace of a naughty smile. When these 2 people bump into each other, would there be intense sparks that would fly out? He was really looking forward to it. Qing Yutong said a few words, then passed the matter to Ren Yao to handle. With a follower by my side, I can indeed relax a bit, and I basically don't need to do this kind of thing myself. Then, can I leave now that I've helped you with this matter? Ren Yao's cute face, coupled with that unique bald head, was a little scary. Leave? Where are you going? I want to meditate on the true meaning of life here and become a qualified guardian. Renyao held onto his chest and said, having the intention of repenting. Qing Yutong clenched her small fist and said with a strange smile, there's no use in meditating, follow us and mix around, that's the only way to have a future. Quickly go and handle the matter, don't make me wait anxiously, if not, I will get punched again later on. Speed up. Increase your ability to handle matters, this is what you should be meditating on. What? I'll be right back. Renyao felt that she was hopeless. Why did such a thing happen? I'm on the verge of collapse. I'm so angry. I'm so vexed, that's more like it, guardian, take out your dignity, go. Hearing Qing Yutong cheering for her from behind, Renyao's entire body didn't feel good, and her entire body immediately rushed out, as if she was running away. You run pretty fast. Qing Yutong suddenly appeared at the right side of Renyao, and she was still lying down. Renyao swallowed her saliva, these women. None of them are good people. I'm trying to increase my efficiency. Renyao squeezed out a smile and said. There weren't any other thoughts in her mind, this time, I can be considered to have met with an iron plate, luckily, I did not get injured. Qing Yutong patted onto the bald man's head, that's more like it, hurry up, I will give you the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, we still have to rush to other places. Got it. Qing Yutong stopped running, then looked at Renyao and said softly, still want to run, how is that possible? Renyao quickly arrived at the front of Water City. Towards the three overlords in front of her, she naturally recognized them. Although they did not appear just now, she was still able to see everything. Right now, Bao Xi and the other two also saw Renyao and revealed a curious expression. Who is this? All of them are not wearing any clothes, this is too rude, right? Furthermore, it's neither male nor female, and it's even a bald man. Are they acting in a drama? Who are you? Pai Liangjun shouted loudly. Renyao originally had a stomach full of anger, and she really wanted to teach those fellows a lesson, but she still had to handle matters. What, you don't recognize me anymore? Renyao said faintly. This is the aura that a guardian should have, the kind that is definitely not a joke. However, facing the 5 women, she was completely unable to display this kind of aura. In actuality, from the very start, she felt that she would not be able to win against them. Hearing Renyao's words, the 3 people paused for a moment. Kong Feicheng was the first to react, he pointed at Renyao and said, you are that abyss wave. What bullshit abyss wave, that is just my little bug. The 3 people, that kind of strong abyss wave is actually just the opponent's little bug, impossible, this is definitely impossible. Stop talking nonsense. Let one person go, hurry up. My patience is not very good. Renyao shouted gravely. Time is pressing, stop talking nonsense. That will have to depend on whether you have the ability or not. Bao Xi shouted out angrily. After all, his son had died, and he is still in pain. My son is very outstanding, he is not someone that they can compare with. All of the star cannons could be seen aiming at Renyao. An astonishing aura was currently condensing, however, Renyao slowly stretched out her finger. A silver light could be seen shooting out from the tip of her finger, and a star cannon that had not condensed yet could be seen exploding, and the star cannon that had not condensed yet immediately exploded. The number of these star cannons was limited, and they were all left behind by the old ancestor. If there was one less star cannons, then there would really be one less star cannons. However, just like that, Renyao killed all of the star cannons one by one. Kong Feicheng and the other 2 were all stupefied. The defense of the star cannons is something that even overlords are unable to break, and this person is actually able to do it so easily. This is impossible. This is definitely impossible. End of this chapter. Chapter 921. This was a freaking fake. However, the last star cannon had finished assembling, and a silvery white energy shot towards Ren Yao. Seeing the last ray of hope shoot out, Pai Liangjun and the other two stared at the silvery white light wave. It was not that I, Kong Feicheng, was bragging, but even if the other party was a super Jizun, this cannon would still blast him into pieces. Moreover, it would be pieces that could not be pieced back together. Ren Yao looked at the incoming white light wave and did not put up any defense. Boom! When the white light wave came into contact with Ren Yao's body, a dazzling white light burst out, and a terrifying pressure engulfed the entire seabed. The seawater churned, and the city rumbled. All the residents hid in their homes, and they would never forget what happened today for the rest of their lives. This was simply a disaster day for Water City. He should be dead. Bao Ci said in a deep voice. Should be. Pai Liangjun was also unsure, and there was only dust in front of him. I can't even feel his aura, he should be blasted into pieces. Kong Feicheng said in a low voice, and his hands started to move behind his back, as if the crisis had been resolved. However, they seemed to have forgotten one thing, and that was that they couldn't feel Ren Yao's aura from the start. When the dust dispersed, a figure was still standing not far away. The three of them immediately froze, and if it was possible, their jaws would definitely have dropped to the ground, but they allowed it to happen. He is actually fine. Bao Ci said in shock. That light wave actually didn't leave any mark on his body. This was impossible. The three of them looked at it with disbelief, and they even felt that this star cannon was fake. Ren Yao was someone who was able to receive 2 punches from Yi Zizi without any injuries. From this, it could be seen how powerful his defense was. The might of the star cannon was like a tickle to him. He was completely fine. Ren Yao extended his hand again, and extinguished the last star cannon, and then said indifferently, if you still don't release him, I can only kill him. Release him. Release him. Release him. Kong Feicheng's words were unclear, and he only wanted to ask this ancestor to leave. However, some of the guards didn't know who to release. Kong Feicheng hurriedly asked, who do you want us to release? The one we caught today, his name is Yang Haotian, a man under general anesthesia. Ren Yao said calmly. She was full of vigor. This was a true guardian. The one just now was definitely a fake. Quick! Quickly release that Yang Haotian. Bao Ci shouted angrily. If he had known that this would happen, he would have released the star cannons earlier. Now that the star cannons were gone, the star cannons still had to be released. This was a complete loss. The gains did not make up for the losses. Humans were often like this. Only after trying would they know that it was too late for regrets. Just like these 3 Supremes, without the celestial cannons, it was equivalent to losing a layer of defense. Furthermore, it was the most crucial defense. If someone were to attack them, they would be in danger. Very soon, Yang Haotian was brought over. His entire body was still numb, and he could only move his eyes. Of course, he could still talk. Hurry up and release him, Pai Liangjun shouted. The imperial bodyguard cautiously said, you can't let him go. The 3 supreme martial artists, do you King want to die? Who exactly is the boss now? You actually said that you won't let us go. Could it be that you want to see us 3 supremes die before you're willing to let us go? Hurry up and let go. Bao Ci shouted angrily. The 2 guards were so frightened that they immediately let go. However, as soon as he let go, the stiff Yang Haotian fell straight down, his nose hitting the ground hard. The 3 supreme martial artists were a little stupefied. How did he collapse just like that? At that time, he would think that they had hit him. What's going on? Kong Feicheng asked. He's been poisoned by bang hard poison. The imperial bodyguard said while trembling with fear. He had already said that he couldn't release the poison. The moment he released the poison, he collapsed. Hard poison. Pai Liangjun immediately knew that it was his 3rd brother's usual method. Luckily I have the antidote, Pai Liang-jun took out a lump of yellow unknown object. The object carried a fishy smell, and the shape of the object was not pleasing to the eye, to the extent that it looked a bit like, cough, just a lick. Pai Liang-jun said softly. There was even a look of concern in his eyes, giving people a different feeling, like an uncle holding a lollipop. Yang Haotian was speechless. Lick. Licking again. Is this how you and your father deceive others? Just now, I was poisoned because I licked the sword. I didn't expect you to let me lick it again. Do you think I, Yang Haotian, am an idiot? What kind of poison is it this time? No, it didn't look like it. Just by looking at its shape, it looked even more terrifying than bang-hard poison. How dare you make me lick shit? F***ck me. Even more vicious. I won't lick it even if you beat me to death. Young man, don't doubt it. This is really the antidote. Just lick it and you'll be fine. Pai Liang-jun said attentively. He noticed that the other party's eyes were filled with vigilance. He guessed that this was poison. However, it did look like poison, at least in the shape. But there was nothing he could do about it, it looked so weird. I won't lick it. You rotten old man, you're very bad. Yang Haotian would rather die than comply. As a man, how could he lick such a dirty thing? Pai Liang-jun gave them a look, and Bao Ci and Kong Fei instantly understood. They immediately pressed Yang Haotian's head down and opened his mouth wide. Is he trying to forcefully shove it in? How savage. Yang Haotian felt that he was about to be humiliated. In just one day, she had been humiliated so many times. She didn't expect to be humiliated by 3 men. It was the greatest humiliation of his life. Good child, just a lick will do. Pai Liang-jun said with a strange smile. This caused Yang Haotian to almost collapse. What F*** king good child? Who's your child? Scram. If I say I won't lick, then I won't lick. Pai Liang-jun had no other choice but to directly shove it all into his mouth. Yang Haotian opened his eyes wide. He felt that a huge thing was squeezed into his mouth, and a fishy smell came out from it. I was actually forcefully opened by someone. Oh my god. Yang Haotian, the main character of the red packet system, swallowed this fishy and smelly thing today, and you even forced me to lick it. These shameless rotten old men. However, when Yang Haotian innocently licked it, he suddenly felt a clear current flowing within his body, it felt very comfortable. The hard feeling gradually disappeared, and unknowingly, Yang Haotian started licking it himself. So fragrant. Seeing that Yang Haotian was fine, Pai Liang-jun snatched it over. This is a treasure, to actually let you lick it so many times. Yang Haotian looked at Pai Liang-jun with a resentful expression. I was just happily licking it, and you actually shamelessly snatched it away, scoundrel. Bao Ci said respectfully, Gongzi, someone is here to pick you up, you should quickly leave with him. Yang Haotian took a look at Ren Yao, then said solemnly, who is this? I don't know him, I'm not going. The 3 overlords, Pai Liang-jun squeezed out a trace of a smile, child, don't mess around, be good, your father is here to pick you up. Chapter 922. Whoever wants to be the sun can go, you lunatic. Yang Haotian rolled his eyes. I was already very unlucky, but I didn't expect to run into another tiger's den. The 3 supremes almost kneeled down. Great hero, just leave, don't waste time, or else that androgynous baldy is going to start killing people. Young man, this person is here to save you. Kong Feicheng almost wanted to make a move. I have never seen such a person who would rather be locked up than go out. He looks so ugly, with just a look, I can tell that he is a bad person, how could he possibly be here to save me, you all want to lie to me, how is that possible? Young hero, you can't say things like that, it is too rude. That's right, you can't judge a person by their appearance. You can't label someone as a bad person just because they are ugly, unless they are really ugly. Yang Haotian said in a low voice, but I really feel that they are really ugly. After hearing that, the three supremes silently nodded their heads. That's why I have decided to stay here for a long time. Big brother. Can't I just call you big brother? Even if they are bad people, you still have to go, if not we are going to be screwed. Kong Feichen couldn't care so much anymore, he had already called him big brother. Yang Haotian indeed felt that that person was very scary, that's why he didn't go, he wasn't joking. It could be said that if he went there, he would definitely be screwed. At least over here, there would still be food to eat. Ren Yao let out a deep sigh, I can only use the backup plan. Ren Yao could be heard shouting, it was Shuang'er who told me to come and save you. Hearing that it was Shuang'er, Yang Haotian immediately became spirited. My red packet is still on Shuang'er's butt. Actually, I feel that ugly people have a good heart, just like him, bye-bye. After Yang Haotian finished speaking, he flew towards Ren Yao. After seeing that the little ancestor had left, the three supremes finally felt relieved. Yang Haotian looked at Ren Yao who was in front of him and said with a smile, Brother, did Shuang'er really tell you to come and call me? Do you think that I wanted to come? That is a group of vicious women. Yang Haotian's expression became more and more shocked, then he grabbed onto Ren Yao's shoulder, I also feel that way, that is a group of vicious women, they tortured me to death. They're all unfortunate people. Yang Haotian and Ren Yao took a deep breath and exhaled helplessly. Since they couldn't resist, they could only enjoy the thrashing. However, after Ren Yao left, she turned around and said, if you dare call me ugly again, I'll kill you. I'll King kill all of you. My hair just hasn't grown out yet. The immense pressure caused the three supreme beings to kneel down. They were so frightened that they hurriedly spoke up. This person was actually so powerful and terrifying. Fortunately, he did not resist just now. If he had resisted, he would definitely have died. God bless my water city. The things left behind by the old ancestor were indeed very powerful. Yang Haotian sensed Ren Yao's strength and was also very surprised. Brother, are you really that strong? We can work together. Yang Haotian felt that there was a way. He would definitely be able to kidnap those vicious women and get the red packet for himself. Ren Yao sighed, little brother, please dispel this crazy idea of yours. I still want to breathe fresh air. I won't accompany you to die. I'm just joking, look at how serious you are. Seriously, they are so kind, they are all good people. I, Yang Haotian, am also extremely happy to be able to accompany them. Yang Haotian immediately started bootlicking, because when he saw the beautiful figure that was not far away, he was so scared that even his soul was trembling. Not only Yang Haotian, Ren Yao was also the same. Qing Yutong was waiting for the two not far away. Lu Dan, you're pretty fast huh? Ha, it's nothing. Ren Yao had no choice but to submit to Qing Yutong. Yang Haotian immediately shouted, Big sister, you came to save me, I'm too happy. After finished speaking, Yang Haotian went to hug Qing Yutong's thigh. Qing Yutong kicked Yang Haotian away, stop wasting time, get on the boat. Yang Haotian grinned, get on the boat, big sister, where are we going? We are going to a fun place, Lu Dan, follow me, sigh, alright. Ren Yao followed behind helplessly, and the three rushed towards the boat. On the sea's surface, the boat was still there, just that it had changed from day to night. After the three landed on the boat, Yang Haotian immediately shouted, Shuang'er, I'm back. A murderous aura rang out within the boat, if you dare to call me Shuang'er again, I'll beat the shit out of you with a punch. Alright. Yang Haotian immediately cowered. Qing Yutong walked into the cabin of the boat, and the two followed behind, just like attendants. Just that, Yang Haotian was a lot weaker than Ren Yao. Yutong, where are we going next? Brett asked curiously. Today's day is rather interesting, it's fun. Qing Yutong pouted her mouth, how about we go to his empire to play first? After that, we'll make plans. This idea is not bad, let's go then. Kai Yun immediately agreed. In any case, playing is just playing. In actuality, Yang Haotian really wanted to say, I'm the emperor after all, did you all ask for my opinion just like that? You all are simply too overbearing, my mother doesn't want me to play with you all anymore. The troublemaker group of 5 didn't stop causing trouble, and they were completely unable to stop. In the end, they finally pierced through the sky, and there was no way for them to clean up the mess. However, at a small village in the northwest of Wushu Empire. At this time, every household was warming themselves up at home, and outside, snow was falling from the sky. At this time, the temperature outside was -10+°C. Suddenly, a series of strange footsteps rang out, especially the sound of the footsteps stepping onto the snowy ground. It seemed especially gloomy and cold. The faint light that floated out from the window illuminated the figure, and the figure's shadow was projected onto the wall at the side. The figure was a black-robed man who was holding onto a sickle. This was precisely Death Mage. All of the scripts have been arranged, and this was also the first scene. Male lead, Death Mage guest, Yi Hua screenwriter, Mu Ran lines, improvisation. Death Mage expressed that this was the first time that he did such a thing, and furthermore, it was the male lead, so he was a bit reserved and embarrassed. It doesn't seem appropriate to scare people out of their beds in the middle of the night. After all, Death Mage, am a young man with good qualities. Therefore, Death Mage didn't plan to knock on the door anymore, and he raised the sickle in his hand high up. Summon evil spirits. Death Mage shouted out in anger, and countless evil spirits flew into the 100 households. In an instant, wails rang out in the entire village. Everyone was chased to the plaza in the middle by the evil spirits, and there were even some people who didn't even wear their clothes and were shivering from the cold. Countless evil spirits hovered in the air, and everyone obediently kneeled on the snowy ground, and their faces were pale white from fright. Some children hid within their parents' embrace, not daring to look at the evil spirits, and some children who were more courageous secretly looked at the evil spirits. Slowly, Death Mage's figure appeared in front of everyone, and when everyone saw that it was an undead, despair appeared on their faces. Chapter 923. Even children would start crying when they saw the undead. Because even children knew that the undead clan was evil and would commit all kinds of evil. The parents of the children immediately covered their children's mouths, and the square was filled with muffled cries. Death Mage was very depressed. It is so hard to be the male lead. Why doesn't his honor come and be the male lead? Furthermore, he is a bad male lead. It was a good thing that Death Mage's expression could not be changed. Just by looking at his skeletal face, he would be able to scare people to death. GGG, Royal Translation, you all will become my sacrificial offerings, ha ha ha. After he finished speaking, Death Mage felt that his lines were too weak. It was not shocking at all. The translation job was still assigned to the evil spirits circling in the sky. Lowly human. You will all become sacrifices for the great undead clan. You will feel extremely honored and give up your lowly lives for the great undead clan. Death Mage, F***ck me. Was that what I said? To actually translate it so incisively, this is so embarrassing. I reckon that his honor is probably laughing at me right now. How embarrassing. Look at how this evil spirit speaks better than me. It looks like I'll have to learn how to speak from Sun Fang when I get back. The village chief stood up at this moment, his aged face revealing a fearless expression. We will not yield to the undead clan, children. My fellow countrymen. Stand up, we will not bow our heads to the undead. Yes. We will not yield. That's right. We will fight to the end. Brothers, pick up your hoes and fight it to the death. Over 100 people were already shouting. Their morale had indeed increased by quite a bit. Although Death Mage's eloquence was not good, his might was still there. The death scythe in his hand stabbed into the ground, causing a wild gale to blow. The powerful might caused everyone to feel shocked, and they once again knelt on the ground. Some people even coughed up blood. Without waiting for Death Mage to speak, the evil spirit had already started to forcefully add on his lines. Lowly humans, how dare you anger the great undead race? You will become the most miserable sacrifices, and your souls will never be redeemed. Death Mage felt that there was no need for him to speak anymore, and let these evil spirits speak for him. It was a little sad. Everyone began to pray to the heavens, asking the gods to come and save their believers and crush the evil in front of them. However, just as everyone was praying, a golden light flashed across the dark sky. Everyone was stupefied. I didn't expect that our prayers would instantly be arranged by the heavens. The gods didn't abandon us, there's still hope. The golden radiance of the night slowly descended, and everyone discovered that it was a golden armor that was emitting out a holy radiance. Even the gods didn't have such an imposing manner. There was finally hope. However, when the golden armor completely landed on the ground, everyone was stupefied. This isn't a god at all. It's another undead. My god, are you trying to play me to death? They are on the same side. The heavens want to destroy the human race. The one who was wearing the golden armor was naturally Yi Hua. Staying in the imperial palace is too boring, and coming out to have some fun is quite interesting. Acting with my subordinates is quite fun. However, this idiot Death Mage doesn't even know how to speak. Look at how well that evil spirit knows how to speak. This time, when I return, I have to ask Sun Fang to properly teach Death Mage. Look at me, I have never gambled, I don't drink or smoke, I am simply the best man in the world. For Qing Ye and Donghuang Baizhi to be able to find a man like me, it is their good fortune that they have cultivated for several lifetimes. However, Yi Hua discovered that these people were not moved at all when he descended from the sky. Instead, they looked as if they were going to die. GGG. Imperial translation, who are you? Evil spirit, who are you, you bastard? Death Mage, your honor, this is not what I said, you know what I mean, these are all the lines that those evil spirits added themselves. When Yi Hua heard those evil spirits actually called him a bastard, they are truly going against the heavens. This bastard is something that only my woman can do. If anyone else dares to scold me, I will kill them all. Yi Hua could be seen stretching out his bone palm and grabbing the air. The evil spirit that was scolding Yi Hua a bastard just now immediately exploded in the air. Everyone was stupefied. What is going on? Aren't they supposed to be together? Yi Hua took out his own great sword, which was similarly shining with golden light. I am the embodiment of justice. You damned undead, to actually want to harm innocent humans, I will never forgive you. Along with Yi Hua's words, an unparalleled aura emitted out from his entire body, causing everyone to be stupefied. This undead. What a sense of justice. The evil spirit started speaking again, you scum of the undead, to actually harm your own kind, all for these lowly humans. Great Mage, quickly grant him death, let him know that the dignity of the undead is not to be violated. Death Mage was in despair. Why is the evil spirit that I summoned so outstanding? Did you all care about my feelings? He is my boss's boss. Yi Hua felt that this evil spirit's acting skills were not bad. Look at this Death Mage, he is just like a fool, he is just standing there stupidly. Yi Hua raised his great sword and pointed it at Death Mage, then shouted out, you are the scum of the undead. The undead are a race that yearns for peace, and it is precisely because of you people that the reputation of my undead is ruined. Today, I will let you have a taste of my great sword. After Yi Hua finished speaking, he held on to his great sword and leaped high into the air. A ray of red light flashed past Death Mage's eyes. This is my first time fighting with his honor. This is an unparalleled honor, an unparalleled honor. Holding on to the scythe of death, Death Mage raised both of his hands above his head. Clang! A terrifying aura was emitted out. Yi Hua shouted out gravely, go out and fight, do not harm the innocent. GGG Imperial Translation, as you wish. After finished speaking, the two disappeared into the night sky. However, not long after, a magnificent scene of an explosion blossomed not far away from them, causing the villagers to be dumbstruck. They are so strong. I wonder who will win. I hope that it will be that righteous undead. If it is that evil undead, I will definitely have to die. Meanwhile, not far away from them, Yi Hua was standing with his hands behind his back, while Death Mage was throwing magic around at the side. A fireball spell was thrown here, and a lightning spell was thrown there, creating the scene of a battle. Death Mage, you need to practice your eloquence a bit more. Yi Hua said faintly. GGG, Imperial Translation, I will solemnly obey your decree. Also, when you are acting, you have to put yourself into it. Even if you only know how to shout out GGG, you also have to pay attention to the tone of GGG, fluctuate up and down, only then will you be able to act out your inner thoughts, understand? Death Mage didn't understand what Yi Hua meant. GGG, Imperial Translation, subordinate understands. Chapter 924. Death Mage continued to throw out magic that caused a huge explosion, causing the surroundings to be charred on the outside and tender on the inside. The commoners in the village were all scared to the point that they were trembling in fear. This is too terrifying. These two undead are actually opponents. This is simply subverting their understanding of the undead. Gradually, the sound of the explosion stopped. Everyone began to feel nervous. Who had won? Hopefully, it would be the righteous undead. If it was that black-robed undead, he would definitely be finished. The lives of the entire village would be in their hands. Everyone began to pray to the heavens that the golden undead would win. When a golden figure flew over, everyone was excited. They were so excited that they hugged each other. The heavens had not abandoned them. The undead had won. The armor on Yi Hua's body could be seen to be a bit tattered. I'm acting after all. Of course, props have to be used. Only then will it be able to fully show that I, the Supreme Overlord, had just gone through an extremely tragic battle. Humans, aren't you all going to be moved? Thank you for saving us. Tears streamed down the village chief's face as he knelt on the ground in worship. Seeing that even the village chief was worshipping, the others also began to worship. They would never have imagined that they would be worshipping an undead. But this undead had saved their lives, so he deserved this bow. Yi Hua felt that the atmosphere was very good. This is the feeling that my plan is being implemented step by step. All of you, get up, there is no need to be like this. Yi Hua said gravely, and his tone seemed to still be a bit weak, just like he had just won the battle with great difficulty. Thank you for saving our entire village, the village chief shouted gratefully. I'm helping the people get rid of evil. Among the mutated tribes, there are good and bad people. That undead just now was one of the bad ones. They killed innocents for their own selfish desires. I will take care of these scum bit by bit. We can't let these people ruin the reputation of the non-humankind. After hearing Yi Hua's words, everyone felt that what Yi Hua said was reasonable. Even among humans, there were good and bad people, and it should be the same for other races as well. Just like this undead, I feel that he is a good person. It seems like the first impression that Yi Hua gives others is that he is a good person. However, he was actually very bad. He cheated in all kinds of ways, even his wife. It was not too much to call him a scumbag. This hero is right. No matter the race, there will always be good and bad. The village chief said respectfully. If it was possible, he should spread this story around and let everyone know that not everyone in the foreign races was a bad person. After hearing that, Yi Hua felt that this old man was not bad and was a respectable person. It's very dangerous for you all to stay here. Why don't you all go to Voidless Empire? There are all sorts of benefits there, and as long as you are willing to work, you all will be able to support yourselves. Hero, we are already used to living here, if we were to suddenly move. I'm afraid, Yi Hua said faintly, the safety of Voidless Empire can be guaranteed, but if you all continue to stay here, what should you all do if you run into that matter from earlier again? After all, it is impossible for me to protect you all every single day. The village chief felt that what Yihua said was very right. If those bad fellows were to come again, what should we do? At that time, everyone would have to die. You guys, think about it. Voidless Empire is able to protect your safety. Such a thing like this will never happen in Voidless Empire. After finished speaking, Yihua disappeared from where he was, not waiting for them to make a decision. Only when he left would they feel afraid. Village chief, I feel that we should still go to Void Empire. A middle-aged woman said. That's right, village chief, if that bad fellow were to come back again, we wouldn't be able to do anything at all. Indeed, now that all the heroes have left, we have to quickly make a decision. Then, let us go and have a meeting right now. The village chief didn't say anything else. Everyone's worries are right, if there is really a need, we should still move to Voidless Empire. At this moment, Yihua returned to the palace. The fun he had just now was rather interesting, and he still has to continue. This is truly too interesting. Yihua, where did you go just now? Qingye suddenly asked at the side. These few days, Yihua has been acting sneakily, as if he had been doing something bad. Yihua shouted towards Daji, brew a cup of tea for me. All right, master, do you need to wash your feet? Daji asked obediently. Sure, soak my feet. Yihua sat on the chair with a comfortable expression on his face. I am asking you, Yihua. Qingye sat beside Yihua and shook Yihua's shoulders with both of her hands. I didn't play much, I just went out for a walk. Yihua said faintly. Dong Huang Baizhi walked over from the side. Yihua, you are an emperor, and you let us do everything for you. Qingye and I have to deal with a lot of things all day long, and you just go out and play, don't you feel sorry for us? Sigh. Yihua didn't expect that there would be so many things to deal with when creating an empire, just looking at it gives me a headache. Right now, I can only console them properly. Yihua carried Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi in his embrace. You two have worked hard, continue to work hard in the future. Qingye, Donghuang Baizhi, tell us first, what have you been doing during this period of time? Donghuang Baizhi asked. It's nothing much, I was just planning for the matter of humans and other races coexisting peacefully. Isn't that more important, so? I am also very tired. Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi looked at Yihua from the corner of their eyes. I feel that this is so fake, he definitely went out to play sneakily and purposely found an excuse. The two women looked at each other and seemed to have their own thoughts. Thus, they didn't ask too much. Very quickly, Daji came over with water to wash Yihua's feet and placed it beside Yihua's feet. Master, let Daji help you wash your feet. Daji said respectfully. After all, even your wife is here. Yihua, who was in a good mood, allowed Daji to do so. Daji, on the other hand, was very excited. She immediately helped Yihua to put on a pair of slippers, then lightly placed Yihua's feet into the hot water and lightly rubbed them. It feels so good. This is the first time I have come into contact with my master's holy body, and Daji's face turned completely red. My God! I have finally come into contact with my master's body. Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi rolled their eyes at Yihua. Count this as a benefit for you, but at most, you will only be able to wash Yihua's feet, don't even think about anything else. After taking a bath, Yihua hugged onto his two wives and said with a smile, Come, let's go to sleep. If you want to go, you can go by yourself, we still have to work. Qingye still doesn't know Yihua's character. How can work be more important than sleeping? I am going to properly criticize the two of you, I will continue to work tomorrow. Yihua reprimanded with a stern face. Later on, he was going to use domestic violence. Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi were suffering. How could the two delicate wives be Yihua's opponent? Domestic violence was currently in progress. For the next few days, Yi Hua and Death Mage continued to put on a show, and more people began to sing praises of the undead. End of this chapter. Chapter 925. However, today, Yi Hua planned to play the role of a bad guy and enjoy the feeling of being a bad guy. Speaking of which, I, the Supreme Overlord, have not been a bad person for many years. I am truly a bit ashamed. Looking at the few hundred people in front of him who were kneeling on the ground, Yi Hua suddenly felt great in his heart. I really want to snap my fingers and turn all of them into blood-red bubbles that will fly in the air. That kind of feeling should be very pleasurable. It was simply not a normal kind of pleasurable. Yi Hua's thoughts immediately returned back to that time when he killed the innocent. However, very quickly, he adjusted himself. Forget about what happened back then. I, the Supreme Overlord, have already washed my hands of life. But then again, shouldn't it be Death Mage's turn to go up? Where is he? Did he fall asleep? That idiot. However, right now, Death Mage was not asleep. Instead, he was kneeling on the ground and shivering. Because there were two women standing in front of him. His wife. Your Honor, I'm going to be exposed. Your wife is here. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji were finally unable to take it anymore. Our man leaves the house early in the morning and returns late at night. Could it be that he is learning from others and keeping a mistress outside? After observing Death Mage for the past few days, he discovered that Death Mage was the same as well. Thus, he decided to tail Death Mage. Yi Hua did not see Death Mage, but he saw Death Mage. Where is His Honor? Qingye asked gravely. Death Mage was about to pee in his pants. Could it be that I have to say that His Honor is currently acting as the bad guy? Kakik. Donghuang Baiji rolled her eyes. Speak human language. Kakik. Imperial translation, Madam, I don't know how to speak human language. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji naturally knew that Death Mage couldn't speak the human language. However, right now, I am even more curious about where did Yi Hua go. For him to be acting so mysteriously, he is definitely not doing anything good. This bastard bullied the two of us at night and even made us work during the day while he ran out to have fun. This is simply infuriating. He didn't care about his wife at all. She was so angry that she was about to cry. Hurry up and speak, use your phone to type. Donghuang Baiji was very angry. These two are definitely covering up for each other. How would Death Mage dare to do such a thing? Thus, he lowered his head and remained silent. Even if you beat him to death, I won't betray His Honor. Qingye, there seems to be a village over there. Donghuang Baiji looked towards the distance. Qingye also looked over. Indeed, there were still a lot of people standing on the plaza. Let's go and take a look. Qingye said gravely. Death Mage hurriedly stood up. Looking at Death Mage's action, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji wanted to go and take a look even more, and in an instant, Qingye disappeared from where she was standing. However, on the plaza, Yi Hua was still acting cool. You lowly humans. To be able to become my slave is a blessing that you've accumulated in your previous life. Don't expect anyone to come and save you. Even if someone comes, I'll crush them and roast them on charcoal. Moreover, I'll roast them until they're so burnt that even dogs won't eat them. The moment Qingye and Donghuang Baiji came over, they heard those words. Their beautiful eyes immediately froze. Why is there an undead here as well? Also, why is the way he speaks so similar to my man? Yi Hua's heart thumped. He had a bad feeling about this. However, when the man who was kneeling on the ground saw the two women appear, his originally lifeless eyes lit up with hope. These two beauties were so beautiful. They must be fairies, fairies sent by the heavens. They knew that he was in danger, so they made such arrangements. Goddess save me, ah, goddess, save us, we're going to be fried by him. Sister, save us. He's so bad. Yi Hua, why is it not Death Mage who appeared? but my wife instead. What am I supposed to do? They still don't know who I am. Luckily, they shouldn't suspect me. Who are you? Qingye asked coldly. Dong Huang Baiji looked at the skeleton vigilantly. Right now, Yihua's back was facing his wife, and he was currently thinking of how to coax them away. These two women, they really came to spoil my plans. When I return home tonight, I'm going to spank my butt until it's swollen. Yihua could be seen slowly turning around, and his pair of empty eye sockets looked towards Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji. I'm someone you can't afford to offend. Yihua felt that it was very interesting to act cool in front of his wife. Hearing Yihua's words, Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji went into a daze. It has been a long time since someone dared to speak to me like this. Because, those who dared to speak to me like this did not have a good ending, and all of them were wiped off by my man. However, today, there was a skeleton that dared to speak to me like this. He is simply courting death. Yihua felt that something was amiss. Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji are acting a bit strange. I didn't even scold you two, is there a need for you two to show such a face? I dare you to say that one more time. Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji landed down from the sky and glared at Yihua angrily. It seemed like they would start a fight if Yihua didn't like what Yihua said. These two women are getting arrogant, to actually dare to speak to me like this, they are truly asking for a beating. You two women, if you are tactful, then hurry up and scram. Don't disturb me while I am killing people here. Yihua shouted out coldly. The best result would be to scare the two of them away. However, were Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji people that could be scared away? What kind of big scene had they not seen with Yihua before? This is just a small skeleton, and yet, it actually dares to be so arrogant. Being shouted at by a skeleton once again, Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji felt a bit uncomfortable. The main thing was that they had been living comfortably, and now, a skeleton suddenly popped out and acted so arrogantly. For a moment, they didn't know what to say. Do you know who I am? Qingye shouted out. Yihua nearly collapsed from laughing. You women, at such a crucial moment, you still have to bring me out. I don't know. Yihua said faintly. Qingye was very angry and shouted out loudly, I am. Before Qingye could finish speaking, Dong Huang Baiji covered Qingye's mouth. Don't say it out loud, if not, other people would think that we are relying on our men. Qingye became muddle-headed from anger, she habitually brought out her own man and forgot that she was also a very formidable woman. Yihua was indeed enduring it. These two women are truly too adorable. Other people always talk about the 7-year itch my ass. I am starting to like them more and more, they are truly mischievous. Today, I shall just tease them a little. Who are you? Even if you are the woman of the emperor, I would still dare to beat you up. Yihua was very arrogant. In any case, Qingye had never seen someone as arrogant as Yihua. Dong Huang Baiji appeared to be rather calm. If you knew, you definitely wouldn't have said such a thing. Hehe, I know that your backer is very formidable, and he is definitely a handsome and confident man. Furthermore, he is also very ambitious, and he has a grand ambition. That kind of excellence is something that no one can compare to. After praising himself, Yihua looked towards the sky at a 45 degrees angle, seemingly like he was sighing at how outstanding he was. End of this chapter. Chapter 926. Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji stared blankly at the skeleton. This is simply, he is too similar to Yihua, he is simply an extremely narcissistic maniac. You won't understand me. I was just talking about myself. Don't misunderstand. Yihua rubbed his head out of conditioned reflex, and suddenly discovered that, right now, he seemed to be bald, the kind that doesn't have any hair. Balding, Dong Huang Baiji felt that she was being looked down upon. It's fine if she was being looked down upon, but I am Yihua's wife, and I can't let this matter rest just like this. Alright. Since that's the case, we can only compete with each other. Dong Huang Baiji was not afraid. No matter what, she was an empress in the past, and her imposing manner was extremely powerful. Yihua didn't have a good feeling about this. Am I really going to fight? This wife hitting her husband, you guys are simply too arrogant. I won't lower myself to the same level as a woman. Yihua said in disdain. Hee, I think you are just a piece of trash. Qingye shouted coldly, and a ribbon suddenly condensed out from her body. The ribbon was emitting a blue radiance, and it looked very gentle. The corner of Yihua's mouth twitched. This is the weapon that I gave to Qingye, and the weapon that I gave to my wife is naturally the most formidable one. Sun chasing 3 pure ones. It was a top-notch primordial divine weapon. Although it looked like a soft ribbon, being whipped by it could cause one's soul to tremble. In fact, it even had a passive skill, soul burn. In any case, being whipped by it would definitely make one feel good from head to toe. Qingye's strength isn't weak. Although she is a bit weaker than me, this 3 clear ones chasing sun is still my nemesis. This 3 clear ones chasing sun is a soul attack weapon. Although it won't be able to injure me, if I get hit by it, I will definitely roll my eyes. Back then, he had given it to Qingye so that she could protect herself. He had never expected that it would be used against him. This shameless Qingye, I am your husband, and you actually used this kind of thing to slap me. Do you believe that I will slap you tonight? Seeing that the skeleton had a slightly fearful look on its face, Qingye snorted, now that you know fear, kneel down and call me grandma, I will give you a quick death. Yihua. Great aunt, last night, the 2 of you were still calling me, that, could it be that the 2 of you have forgotten? A vile person intoxicated by success. Yihua snorted. Dong Huang Baiji shouted out, and a sword appeared in her hand. Yihua felt like covering his head. These 2 women have cheated me of quite a lot of things, especially when they are flirting on the bed. For example, hubby, I want to just give me a little. No one could stop these 2 women from acting coquettishly. As for this sword, its name was Destiny Seeker. The name sounded very romantic, but that was impossible. There was no such thing as a desolate era divine weapon. Even if this sword was giving off a pink glow, it would give off a feeling of love. But if you know, the specialty of this sword is that it asks fate, commonly known as follow fate sword technique. The biggest characteristic of the random fate sword technique is fate, it was like a sword stabbing over. If it was determined to be fated, no matter how one dodged, it would be useless. In any case, it would be stabbed. In the beginning, Dong Huang Baiji felt that it looked good, and thus, she chose this one fun. Yihua expressed that he didn't mind, after all, this one fun is not going to be used to deal with me. But now, both of them had taken it out. It was simply shameless. You guys took my things and went against me. How can you be my wife? When I return this time, I will definitely punish you guys. I will let you guys know that hitting your husband is wrong. Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji took out their weapons, causing the villagers to cheer. These 2 beauties were experts with just a look, and they were scared to the point that they peed in their pants. Hee, if you have the ability, let's compete with our fists. Yihua said in disdain. However, Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji were not that stupid. A set of armor suddenly condensed on their bodies. This caused Yihua to want to cry. These are all things that I gave them to save their lives. Today, I have really kicked an iron board. Should I be a coward? On Qingye's delicate body, a set of aqua blue armor condensed, perfectly matching with the blue ribbon. Her entire person looked very beautiful, simply to the point of being unbelievably beautiful, indescribable with words. This set of armor was also one of Yihua's trump cards. Its name was Qi Shao. It was able to be immune to spells. Just based on this point, it was able to restrain me. Even if I were to throw a spell at it, although it would not be able to achieve true immunity, the power of the spell would definitely be weakened. And the immunity to spells was just one of the effects, there was also the ability to reflect damage from spells. This Qingya, when I return this time, I will make sure that you won't be able to get out of bed for a week. It is useless even if you beg me, and it is useless even if you cry. Other than reflecting damage from spells, there was also set attribute. That's right. It didn't exist at first, but it was added by me. When 3 clear ones is paired with Qi Shao, the set effect that will be triggered will be the weakening of the enemy's fighting strength. This was all an idea that I came up with to protect my beloved wife, but in the end, second, the effect of all skills will be doubled. This is simply greatly weakening my fighting strength. This is the equipment of a nouveau riche, an equipment that can't even be bought with money. Third, set skill, lawless. Yi Hua was helpless about this skill. It was a passive skill. Just from the name alone, one could tell that it would allow you to be lawless and increase your fighting strength for an hour. In any case, Qingya's set of equipment would definitely be able to completely restrain me. I must have been blind to give Qingya this set of equipment back then. Meanwhile, the armor that Donghuang Baizhi was wearing was even more awesome. Its entire body was emitting out a golden white light, and it looked very sacred and inviolable. However, I have decided that tonight, I will properly violate you all from head to toe. This set of armor is called Benevolent Underworld Immortal. It has a very overpowered passive skill. Heal. And it is an automatic heal. As long as you are in the middle of a battle, even if you are injured, the armor will be able to slowly heal you. Furthermore, it is an AoE heal. Of course, the AoE heal is just one of the features of the armor. There is another feature that is even more awesome, and that is buff. That's right, this kind of buff is also an AoE. In the past, Yi Hua felt that Donghuang Baizhi liked to fight with soldiers, so he specially gave her such a good thing. In the end, I never would have thought that she would use it against me first. What is after the buff is added? Benevolent Underworld Immortal. Underworld and Immortal seem to be conflicting, but when combined with this set of armor, the level of defense that this set of armor has become extremely overpowered. It is the same for magic defense as well. Although it is not as immune to magic like Qingya's, the overall effect of this set of armor is rather strong. Furthermore, when Fengming and Benevolent Underworld Immortal also have set effects, the chances of triggering random sword technique, the chances of triggering top-notch buffs, and the chances of triggering full recovery are greatly increased. Don't look down on these 3 things. If you are lucky, you will be unkillable. End of this chapter. Chapter 927. These 2 women are way too daring, to actually show off such an awesome acting cool in front of a little skeleton. They are simply flaunting themselves, commonly known as acting cool. I wonder who they learned from, to actually like acting cool so much. When I return, I must have a good talk with them. With such equipment, do I look like a boss? Everyone says that I am a good person. I swear, when I return tonight, I am going to spank their little butts. Because I am going to get beaten up very soon. What? Why do you think I am going to get beaten up? Could it be that you want me to spank my wife later? Do I look like that kind of person who would spank his wife? Obviously not. I never spank my wife. Firstly, I can't bear to, and secondly, what if my wife cries after being beaten up? Wouldn't I have to go and coax my wife? In the end, I would still be the one at a disadvantage. But I can't just admit defeat, right? Fortunately, I still have some cards up my sleeves. There are still quite a few good fellows. Evil thief, hurry up and surrender. Donghuang Baizhi pointed her sword at Yi Hua. Damn it. Empress, you are really something, to actually point your sword at your husband. Just you wait, if I don't beat you to death tonight, you are too arrogant. Qingya shouted out coldly, evil thief, today, we will let you have a taste of our methods. We will beat you until you can't even stand up. Yi Hua, good fellow, you guys are awesome. I swear once again, for the next 1 month, you guys can spend your time on the bed. I will let you guys cry for your parents. Alright. Today, I will let you guys know what is called power. Yihua shouted out. If you want to fight, then come at me. Whoever is a coward is a grandson. Just what we want, let's change to another place. Alright. After speaking, the three disappeared from where they were standing. The commoners were all dumbstruck. They really started fighting just like that? Shouldn't they say something to each other? This is a bit too sloppy. The three immediately moved to a desolate and uninhabited place. This place was a world of ice and snow, the sky was gloomy, and the cold wind was whistling, bringing along bone-piercing coldness. However, this kind of coldness was nothing to the three of them. That's right, Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi wanted to kill Yihua. Thinking about it, Yutong is still the most obedient. These two are truly too mischievous. Today, I must teach them a good lesson. At this moment, Death Mage had also arrived not too far away. It's over. His Honor and your wife are fighting, what should I do? Should I call someone over to stop the fight? He still had to call for help. Thus, Death Mage immediately called for his wife, Sun Fang. What it meant was, His Honor is hitting your wife, quickly come and stop the fight. At Voidless Empire, Sun Fang was currently lying on a rocking chair and reading a book when she suddenly received Death Mage's message. He immediately sat up. What? His Honor hit your wife. Look. Holy shit. Sun Fang felt that she was about to rush over, but she suddenly stopped. This. Should I call my good sisters over as well? Sun Fang's good sister was Tang Wei. Because the two of them were in the same boat, she had a man but couldn't enjoy the happiness of being a woman. Tang Wei received a message from Sun Fang. Astonishment filled his heart. His Honor hit his wife. Oh my God. It was too cruel. You want us to go and watch the show? No. I have to inform Uncle Wei. Tang Wei immediately informed Uncle Wei. Uncle Wei was shocked. His Honor actually hit his wife in broad daylight. And he even asked us subordinates to go and watch the show. Oh my God. His Honor is so awesome. Wei Chang immediately informed all of his subordinates. Everyone was stupefied. His Honor hit his wife, and he even asked us to go and watch the show. What is the meaning of this? Is this saying that His Honor even dares to hit his wife, let alone his subordinates? His Honor is so cruel, he even asked his subordinates to go and watch the show when he hit his wife, so perverted. Death Mage's message was misunderstood layer by layer, from stopping the fight to watching the show, and then from watching the show to domestic violence and letting his subordinates watch. All of Death Mage's subordinates immediately rushed over to Death Mage's location. However, Yihua still didn't know what was going on, and he was currently thinking about how he should teach these two mischievous wives a lesson. However, since you two acted cool in front of me just now, I will have to act cool in return. Who asked me to be the act cool king? What? Do you want to fight with us empty-handed? We won't kill trash like you who doesn't have any equipment. Qingye snorted, looking very tsundere. Yihua, damn it. How many times have you two scolded me as trash today? Seems like I have doted on you two too much, causing you two to become very arrogant. If you two want equipment, I will grant you two your wish. Today, I will defeat you two and make you two my slaves. I will tie you two up on the bed and humiliate you two. Yihua decided that when he returned home tonight, he would do an Asian bondage. Upon hearing that, Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi were both ashamed and angry. I, Qingye, swear that I will break your bones into pieces, then throw them into Wushu Empire's smelly ditch until they rot. Qingye was really angry. The other party actually has such a crazy idea. Don't they know that I am Yihua's woman? If that jealous king were to hear what Qingye said, he would definitely flip out. When Yihua heard Qingye scolding, he became so angry that he actually wanted to throw me into the sewers. Sure. You two are awesome, Wait for me to choose a set of equipment first. Yi Hua could be seen choosing a set of armor first. It was a gray armor that had a red pattern on it. The red pattern was flowing like fresh blood, making one's hair stand on end. Guan Chang. A rather awesome prehistoric artifact. Passive effect, lowers a female's fighting strength, causing the female's body to become soft. When the female's opponent receives damage, there is a certain chance that the female's opponent will be paralyzed for 1 second. Don't look down on the fact that it is only 1 second. To an expert, a lot of things can be done in 1 second. Of course, the defensive power of the armor was rather awesome as well. Yi Hua thought to himself, the person who created this armor is definitely a pitiful person. How much does he hate his wife? As expected, when the armor appeared, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji immediately felt that their aura was being suppressed, and they even felt that their bodies were becoming a bit soft and a bit sleepy. Yi Hua also found a weapon that could restrain them. Plum Blossom Club. Although the name is a bit tacky, this big and thick club has an automatic shrinking function. Looking at the body of the club, there are even some plum blossom imprints on it. It looks very gaudy. However, these are not the main point. This plum blossom club has a useful passive effect. To be precise, it is a bit strange. As long as one is touched by the club, one would feel a kind of numb feeling. Although this plum blossom club is not a top-notch prehistoric artifact, its passive effect is simply unrivaled. Look at how good I am to you too. Even now, I am still thinking about your comfort. I have it easy, I work diligently every day to make you two feel good. Yet, the next day, you two still say that I am bullying you two. You two are simply shameless. Look at you two, all of you are using killing moves. End of this chapter. Chapter 928. Today, I am going to use this stick to teach you all a lesson. My dignity is not to be trampled on. Just as Yi Hua was about to start beating his wife, he suddenly felt a huge aura coming over. When Yi Hua saw the huge aura, the corner of his mouth twitched. Damn it! I am about to start beating my wife, why did these subordinates come over? Are they here to watch a show? They definitely are. It must be Death Mage who called them over. F***K me. Death Mage, I let you be the male lead, and this is how you repay me. Right now, Death Mage had a stupefied look on his face. Why are all of them here? This isn't right. Death Mage hurriedly pulled Sun Fang to the side, then began making hand gestures. Didn't you tell me to call them over to watch a show? Sun Fang asked curiously. Watch your sister's show, this is His Honor's family matter, and you still called so many people over to watch a show, I'm finished. I'm finished, the subordinates thought that Death Mage was joking. After all, His Honor loves his wife so much, how could he possibly beat his wife? However, looking at the current situation, His Honor actually revealed his true form, and he is really starting to beat his wife. His Honor is so cruel, in order to beat his wife, he actually changed back to his true form. Death Mage immediately explained. Death Mage kept on explaining while laughing. Wei Cheng finally understood. So His Honor was acting, and when he was seen by your wife, she thought that His Honor was a bad person, and thus, she started beating him up. Lai Gu was startled for a moment, then watched unhappily. His Honor is definitely not willing to beat your wife, he is definitely going to be abused today. Speaking of which, I have never seen His Honor being abused before. Therefore, I have to record the entire process. Zishan said softly, His Honor is too careless, how did he get caught? That's right, I feel sorry for His Honor. Li Hun said softly while holding on to Dou Fusher's arm. His Honor is definitely going to be beaten up today, and he won't be able to fight back. However, the subordinates thought to themselves, to be able to see His Honor getting beaten up is also a very glorious thing. After all, I have never seen His Honor getting beaten up by his wife before. Ha, this is too interesting. Are we going to put on an act now? Yi Hua hurriedly shouted, get lost. Stop watching the show here. However, the subordinates pretended that they didn't hear what His Honor said. In the past, His Honor often gossips about subordinates, then shouldn't we gossip about His Honor? Besides, now that His Honor isn't here, I have to listen to His Honor's wife. The group of subordinates immediately kneeled down towards Qingye and Donghuang Baiji. Madam, do you need us to take action? Wei Cheng respectfully asked. After Yi Hua heard that, the corner of his mouth twitched, and he instantly understood what these fellows meant. You guys are not bad. All of you, break up with me. Those who are already married, get a divorce. Back then, I shouldn't have acted as a matchmaker for you all, ungrateful subordinates. Donghuang Baiji said gravely, this kind of trash, we are more than enough. You guys just stand there and watch. All of His Honor's subordinates were startled. Madam, you actually scolded His Honor as a trash. This, Yi Hua was already unable to hold himself back anymore. He had already been scolded by them for countless of times. You guys are the trash. You are a huge piece of trash, a piece of trash that no one wants. Yi Hua immediately retorted back. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji nearly went crazy. He actually said that no one wanted us. Qingye immediately scolded back, you damned skeleton, you definitely did all sorts of evil when you were alive, that's why you were cursed to become a skeleton. You who no one loves, you will be like this for the rest of your life, damn trash. F***K. You crazy woman, you are definitely going through menopause. I reckon that your man has had enough of you and is preparing to dump you. Don't think that just because you guys are pretty, you guys are inflated. You guys don't even have breasts, you guys don't even have buttocks, just looking at you guys makes me lose my appetite. All of His Honor's subordinates were dumbstruck when they saw how His Honor and Madam His Honor were talking. Are you too serious? Don't take it seriously. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji were about to go crazy from anger. This damn skeleton actually cursed us and said that no one wants us, doesn't he know that Yi Hua dotes on us the most? Donghuang Baiji shouted out angrily, what does a trash skeleton like you know? Our husband is unrivaled under the heavens. A trash like you, with just a fart, you would be gone. Look at those people at the side, they are all my husband's subordinates, any one of them would be able to poke you to death. Humph. These two women are using me to act cool again. Other than using me to act cool, what other abilities do you two have? Hee, these trash aren't my opponent at all, if you don't believe me, you can call one of them over and give it a try. Yi Hua decided to teach his subordinates a lesson first. To actually dare to watch me being put on a good show, they are truly going against their superiors. All of Yi Hua's subordinates immediately shrunk back. Do Fusher. You, go. Qingye shouted out. Do Fusher was in despair. Why am I always the one who gets injured? That is His Honor, aren't you just courting death by asking me to go up and fight with His Honor? That fellow called Do Fusher, get the hell out here. Yi Hua shouted out coldly. Li Hun's heart ached. My husband is going to be taught a lesson by His Honor, can't he just change to someone else? Although Li Hun's heart ached, for the sake of dispelling His Honor's anger, I can only, a kick, Do Fusher was immediately kicked out of the group. What a pitiful Do Fusher, to be sold by his wife. Do Fusher swears, even if you kneel down this time, Do Fusher, will not go to your bed, I will definitely not let you have your way. Hubby, you can do it. Li Hun could be seen taking out a ribbon ball from God knows where and actually became a cheerleader for Do Fusher. Do Fusher stood at the front of the group. I don't know if I should go, but I also don't know if I should go back or not. This is so awkward. Why did I come here to watch a show? If I had known that this would happen, I wouldn't have come out just now. It would have been much better to just hide at home and sleep, at least it would have been better than becoming a punching bag for His Honor. The main point is that I cannot expose His Honor's identity, after all, even your wife doesn't know of His Honor's true identity. Do Fusher, don't be afraid, you can fight against 10 of these trash alone. Qingye snorted. Qingye was very clear about the strength of Yi Hua's subordinates. Do Fusher was in despair. This isn't a matter of whether I am afraid or not, I can still fight against 10 of his honor, but his honor can already fight against 10 of me. Madam, don't anger his honor, when the time comes, his honor is going to cook me, Do Fusher. Do Fusher's subordinates discovered that his honor's wife was very crazy when she scolded his honor. Yi Hua held onto his plum blossom club and shouted out angrily, "Get the hell down here and receive your death." Do Fusher was about to cry, but he had no choice but to get down from the plum blossom club. Afterward, Do Fusher pretended to be imposing and attacked Yi Hua. "Your honor, I am also a victim." When Do Fusher got close to Yi Hua, he immediately begged for forgiveness. Yi Hua snorted, "Count yourself unlucky." Do Fusher, Yi Hua could be seen sending Do Fusher flying with a kick, then shouted out towards Qingye and Donghuang Baiji, "This is subordinate? He is just as trash as the two of you." Qingye and Donghuang Baiji were a little astonished. This Do Fusher couldn't have gone easy on Do Fusher, right? End of chapter. Chapter 929. Ha, this kind of trash shouldn't be sent to death, you two can come at me. Yi Hua crooked his finger towards Qingye and Donghuang Baiji. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji did not waste any time and rushed forward together. Yi Hua took a deep breath. Don't think that the two of them are very weak. One of them is from Nuwa clan, and the other is from Donghuang clan. Furthermore, when they were giving birth to a child, the power of my bloodline was added into the child, and adding on the bonus from this set of equipment, the strength of the two of them was not to be underestimated. These two cheated and stole my bloodline power. If I don't use my mystical fire, it will be hard to determine who will win, but to use mystical fire on them? Is there something wrong with his brain? If something happens, he will regret it to death. Do Fusher secretly returned to the group, and then, the group of subordinates began watching the fight between his honor and his wife. Not sure who it was, but crunching sounds could be heard. Yi Hong is actually looking at her purple robe eating potato chips. Damn, in the end, Tang Wei and Li Han also hid at the back and ate potato chips while watching his honor being abused. Your wife is finally helping us subordinates vent our anger. On the battlefield, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji immediately took out their weapons. Qingye's chasing Sun 3 Pure Ones carried a soul attack, while Donghuang Baiji's Ask Fate carried a fate attack. Yi Hua immediately waved the Plum Blossom Club in his hand and fought against the two wives by himself. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji were not fooling around. A terrifying aura immediately reverberated throughout the entire world, and the snowy weather immediately disappeared. It didn't disappear, it melted. When the three weapons came into contact with each other, a terrifying gale emerged, and the surrounding area was instantly affected. Luckily, there was no one here, if not, everyone would have been instantly killed. Yi Hua was greatly startled. These two women are serious. Just as Yi Hua was startled, a comfortable feeling that came from his soul emerged. However, Donghuang Baiji's Ask Fate actually triggered fate. The Plum Blossom Club that was originally blocked by Yi Hua actually poked into my armor. All of my passive abilities were triggered at this moment. Yi Hua felt that his soul was being electrocuted, and Qingye felt that she was trembling. Donghuang Baiji felt that she was being paralyzed. This scene caused the subordinates to be dumbfounded. What kind of operation was this? Is this even possible? How strange. It was as if his honor had been electrocuted, and his honor's wife trembled and became motionless. A second later, the two women immediately distanced themselves from each other, their eyes filled with horror. This skeleton was actually able to block their attacks. How was this possible? I was the one who acted like a spoiled child and asked Yi Hua for my equipment, and they were all Yi Hua's precious items. However, they were actually blocked by a skeleton. Unimaginable. Qingye, this skeleton is not simple. Donghuang Baiji said gravely. Qingye nodded her head, then said in a low voice, when I touched its weapon just now, I felt as if I was paralyzed. Just now, I was also paralyzed for a second. Fortunately, your weapon has soul attack capabilities. Just now, my fate-seeking was also activated, but it's a pity that it wasn't able to pierce through its armor. Dong Huang Baizhi cried out in pity. According to what Yi Hua said, the probability of fate-seeking being activated is still very low. From the looks of it, its weapons and equipment are not ordinary, and it is even on par with ours. Qingye's gaze became solemn. I didn't expect that the skeleton that we met today would be so formidable. From the looks of it, this skeleton is a bit troublesome. Dong Huang Baizhi nodded her head. From the looks of it, we have to have a good talk with Yi Hua today. After all, there is a very powerful enemy that we are not a match for. That's right, we cannot be careless with this matter. Let's see if we are able to get rid of it first. Alright. Let's activate a bit more of the buff, that would be even better. Yi Hua was very gloomy right now. If I were to injure them, my heart would ache, but if I don't attack them, I wouldn't feel good. The main point is that they are very strong. Unless I use my deviant fire, I won't be able to deal with them. Just as Yi Hua was pondering, Qingye and Dong Huang Baizhi had already started their attacks. Qingye shouted out angrily, "Lawless." Yi Hua paused for a moment. Lawless? Tonight, I will teach you what is truly lawless. However, after activating lawless, Qingye's aura became even more berserk. Wei Chang was very surprised, and couldn't help but say, "Your wife's strength is truly a bit scary." That's right, she is about to surpass us. Lai Gu said in a low voice. Qingye and Dong Huang Baizhi's strength had indeed somewhat surpassed the 7 deadly sins, but that was after they obtained Yi Hua's bloodline power. If not for Yi Hua's bloodline, they wouldn't be so powerful. Of course, the bonuses from the equipment that they were wearing also had to be counted. It was impossible for Yi Hua to win against his wife today, unless he really had the heart to fight against her. Right now, Dong Huang Baizhi's benevolent navigator underworld fairy was releasing all kinds of dazzling lights, which were all kinds of buffs. Immediately, Qingye and Dong Huang Baizhi's battle power rose, and even the HP recovery aura was still active. Yi Hua felt uncomfortable. You two are bullying me a bit. If you have the ability, then fight me one-on-one. What's the big deal about 2 against 1? It's like this on the bed, it's also like this outside the bed. You two are simply shameless. Right now, Yi Hua wanted to use spells, but when he thought about Qingye's Crimson Heaven, which has the ability to reflect spell damage, and now that he has also used Lawless, all of his subordinates have buffs, I reckon that if I were to use a spell, 70% of the spell damage will be reflected back to my body. However, it seems like I won't be able to compete with them in strength. Qingye's weapon made my soul feel refreshed, and if I were to come into contact with them again right now, it would definitely feel even more refreshed. After all, there are many layers of buffs added onto my body. Why is their luck so good, to actually trigger so many buffs added onto my body? It can't be that they used money, right? This time, Yi Hua didn't fight head-on. If he fought head-on, he would be at a disadvantage. What should I think of? Just as Yi Hua was thinking of a way, he suddenly heard. Snap! Snap! These were 2 snaps of fingers. Yi Hua was dumbstruck as he looked at the wedding rings on their hands, F***K. I forgot that they still have the unlimited rings. MD. They are going too far. 2 shackles could be seen appearing on Yi Hua's body, directly locking him up. Qingye. Go! Dong Huang Baizhi shouted out lightly. This was a good opportunity. Qingye shouted out, "Evil thief! Die!" Qingye could be seen throwing out her chasing sun 3 pure ones, and this terrifying ancient god artifact instantly wrapped around Yi Hua. A tremor that came from within Yi Hua's soul caused Yi Hua to roll his eyes. Although Yi Hua's eye sockets were still black, right now, Yi Hua was indeed rolling his eyes. These 2 stinky bitches, good job, the 2 of you are going to die. I can very responsibly tell you two are going to die. Looking at this scene, Elvie Liang said in a low voice, his honor is so miserable, he is being beaten up by the two madams. That's right. Luo Ho said in a low voice, he didn't dare to speak too loudly. Wei Chang was still very worried about his honor. If this goes on, his honor is going to be played to death. End of this chapter. Chapter 930. Lai Gu secretly took out his phone and filmed the fight, then said in a low voice, his honor is in trouble this time, your wife is serious. That's right, she is especially serious, it is as if she wants to kill his honor. Yi Hong said in a low voice. I didn't expect that your wife, who usually looks so weak, would be even more ferocious than his honor in a fight. Just look at his honor, even he is being tortured by that chasing sun 3 pure ones. Towards this chasing sun 3 Qing, Wei Chang and Lai Gu of the 7 deadly sins knew about it. This chasing sun 3 Qing was indeed a deadly weapon. It doesn't cause any harm to the body, but the harm it can cause to the soul is simply explosive. I never would have thought that his honor would actually give this weapon to his honor's wife. This is simply torturing oneself. At this moment, Lai Gu said in a low voice, on the day of his honor's wedding, I will release this video. His honor was beaten up by your wife. Wei Chang teased, if that happens, you will definitely be stewed, 100%. That won't happen, his honor has already said it for a few hundred years, but aren't I still fine? The main point is, his honor is becoming more and more human-like. This sentence was the most pertinent evaluation. If it was in the past, if your subordinates dared to come and look at me as a joke, I would beat them up one by one. The current Yi Hua was much more magnanimous, at most, he would just scold them and not beat them up. Dou Fushi could be said to be unlucky. On the stage, Yi Hua was tied up by the chasing sun 3 pure ones. Qing Ye and Donghuang Baiji took a look at each other. This is a good opportunity. King Luo Run. Qing Ye shouted out, and a purple light immediately emerged from her hands. Below Yi Hua's body, a King Luo rune immediately condensed, and a terrifying suction force sucked Yi Hua down from the sky. Inside the rune, a deathly aura could be felt, and the people outside the rune were unable to feel anything. However, right now, Yi Hua could feel that the cold light in the rune was just like a substance, intertwining on his bones. This Qing Ye. She is indeed ruthless. She is using the techniques that I taught her to deal with me. The problem is, the techniques that I taught her are all absolute techniques, and they are all extremely powerful techniques that are only inferior to deviant flames. However, this was not the end, the purple light in Qing Ye's hands condensed, and soon after, it left Qing Ye's hands and slowly flew towards Yi Hua. It gradually stopped above Yi Hua's head. This caused Yi Hua to be a bit angry. You guys are really going too far. Right after Yi Hua finished thinking, the purple light directly descended. Although the purple lightning wasn't big, it directly landed on Yi Hua's bald head. Yi Hua's entire body turned purple, and his entire body was trembling. The two rays of purple light alternated between each other, causing Yi Hua to feel extremely comfortable. Empyrean impermanence. Right at this moment, Donghuang Baiji shouted out, and the One Fate sword in her hand started emitting out a terrifying aura, causing the entire sky to instantly change. Dark clouds covered the sky and thunder rumbled. The huge roar seemed to pierce through the heavens and earth. One Fate was originally emitting a pinkish glow of starlight, but it gradually turned red. The red lightning on the sword seemed to be out of control, flying everywhere. As long as this red lightning came into contact with it, it would instantly turn into dust. Behind Donghuang Baiji, an enormous illusory figure could be seen condensing out. This illusory figure was similarly emitting out a power that could destroy the heavens and exterminate the earth, causing Donghuang Baiji to look just like a goddess of war that had descended to the mortal world. It's over, his honor is going to die. Lai Gu cried out in alarm. This is too ferocious. These two madams are truly fighting with no regard for their lives. After all, if I miss this opportunity, I won't be able to get another opportunity like this again. The subordinates were indeed a bit worried for his honor. After all, his honor wouldn't hit his wife. However, his honor's wife doesn't know about Yihua's true body, and thus, his honor's wife will definitely go all out. Each and every one of his honor's moves were filled with killing intent. Dong Huang Baiji waved the One Fate sword in her hand, and the enormous illusory figure behind Dong Huang Baiji did the same as well. When the enormous One Fate sword was lifted up, the air seemed to have been sucked dry, and the entire sky could see the enormous sword falling down while bringing along a gale with it. However, just by falling down from the sky, the entire ground was instantly unable to support itself. Countless cracks spread out, and there was even a terrifying collapse that appeared on the ground. When Yihua saw this, he scolded in his heart. "These two crazy bitches, is there a need for you to do this? Which eye of yours saw me do something that goes against the heavens? You two are simply unreasonable, and I am unable to communicate with you two. Both of you are using big moves to kill me, you two are simply shameless. The main point is, I am being entangled by the things that I created. Soul attack, confinement, and electric shock. Do you want me to drip wax on you two to satisfy that perverted desire of yours?" Looking at the enormous One Fate sword falling down, Yihua could feel the boundless power coming from it. The Empress is indeed ferocious, to actually murder her own husband. If I were to die, you two can just go and cry, it will be too late for regrets. Kacha. A clear and melodious sound suddenly rang out from the Guanchang armor that Yihua was wearing, and a crack could be seen appearing on the right side of his chest. The crack immediately spread throughout the entire armor. After suffering from so many different kinds of injuries, the armor had already reached its limit. In just a short breath of time, the Guanchang armor on Yihua's body turned into pieces of rocks and fell off. There's no helping it, they are truly too ferocious, and the enormous sword that is on top of my head is truly trying to take my life. Boom! When Fate's sword finally landed, and the entire ground was trembling crazily. The terrifying aura caused even the sky to stop rumbling, and at this moment, everything seemed to have lost its splendor. Yihua steadily received the attacks from his two wives. I don't know how he feels, but one thing is for sure, he will definitely feel uncomfortable. The terrifying destructive power shocked all the subordinates, and they felt that your wife was about to die. If I beat up his honor like this, it is very likely that I will suffer from his honor's domestic violence. Hitting her husband was fun for a while, but when she got home, he was a washboard. Humph. You all are truly looking down on me too much. Yihua's voice slowly rang out. This caused Qingye and Donghuang Baiji to be incomparably shocked. This skeleton is actually still able to speak after suffering from two powerful attacks. How is this possible? Donghuang Baiji had been using the things that Yihua taught her, but it was actually useless. Could it be that this skeleton is more powerful than Yihua? How is this possible? Yihua often says that he is the most powerful one, then what is this thing? Is this Yihua's twin brother? Yihua's voice could be heard once again ringing out from within the dust cloud, super transformation. The subordinates? When did his honor learn to transform? Transform into a crossdresser. This was a little too careless. Yihua finally took out his trump card. This was the technique that Yihua had developed by himself, super transformation. As the name suggested, it was to achieve a more perfect state. It was commonly known as handsome. Along with Yihua shouting out, super transformation, all of the surrounding techniques dissipated, and right now, only Yihua's skeleton remained. All of his weapons and equipment had dissipated just a moment ago. Looking at his honor's current appearance, everyone went into a daze. His honor is still as fond of the color gold as before, to actually change his skeleton into the color gold. End of this chapter. Chapter 931. Indeed, Yihua's originally eerie white bones were dyed with a layer of gold, and there was even a bit of reflection on the bones. Especially that golden bald head of his, it carried the smell of a nouveau riche. Yihua had never used this super transformation, and it could be considered as a secret. Its effect is a bit similar to Qingya's lawless. Both of them are able to increase all of one's abilities, and can be said to be invincible. At the very least, Yihua felt that he could beat his wife to his heart's content. These two mischievous eggs are actually so savage. Today, I will teach you how to be a good wife. Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi both sensed Yihua's aura, and their hearts became very heavy. Because this golden skeleton looked a lot stronger than before. He even felt that he was no match for it. What should he do? Baizhi, we have to go and look for Yihua. Qingye said gravely. This skeleton's strength had already surpassed my imagination. Donghuang Baizhi felt the same as well. This golden skeleton is no longer something that I can deal with by myself. Look at the aura that is emitting from the golden skeleton, it has already become extremely terrifying. You two women, today, I will let the two of you know what pain is. Yihua shouted out, and a terrifying aura immediately spread out. The expressions of his honor's subordinates changed. His honor has become stronger again. From the looks of it, I have to train hard too. Even the terrifying his honor didn't stop his footsteps, let alone me. Donghuang Baizhi snorted, if you have the guts, then fight again. Yihua, I, the Supreme Overlord, have already used my ultimate move, and you actually said to wait before fighting again? How is that possible? Looks like you're afraid of me. Qingye shouted out in a low voice, who is afraid of you? We just feel that we can't bully others with numbers. I, the Supreme Overlord, can't the two of you find a better reason? I, the Supreme Overlord, have already allowed the two of you to bully me with numbers. Oh. Are you planning to make a strategic retreat? Yihua teased. These two foolish wives of mine are still rather smart. After knowing that they can't win against me, I, the Supreme Overlord, feel a bit more at ease. At the very least, I won't force myself to fight against them. Having their thoughts seen through by Yihua, Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi both felt embarrassed. We have lost face for our husbands. If Yihua were to find out about this matter, he would definitely fly into a rage. Just you wait. Don't leave if you have the guts. Wait for me for a minute. That's right. Give us a minute and we'll show you what it means to be powerful. After finished speaking, Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi disappeared from Baizhi's sight. Yihua looked towards his subordinates, and the latter immediately disappeared. If we stay, we will be beaten up. Meanwhile, Yihua, who had transformed back into his human form, disappeared from the spot and reappeared in the imperial palace. Daji, serve the tea. Yihua walked into the bedroom and said. Master, your wife was looking for you everywhere just now. Daji said respectfully. Right after Daji finished speaking, Yihua heard the sound of hurried footsteps. Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi's figures immediately arrived. Yihua looked towards the two women who were beating him up without any regard for their lives, and he really wanted to ruthlessly slap them. Just that, I didn't even cry, so why are you all crying? That's right, both Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi were crying, and both of them were hugging onto Yihua and crying loudly. Yihua was helpless. You guys are the ones who beat me up, yet you guys are already crying to this extent. Could it be that I, the Supreme Lord, still have to console you? If so, who is going to console me? What's the matter? Yihua was very curious, why are these two women crying? Qingye said sadly, Yihua, we have lost face for you. Donghuang Baizhi's tears flowed out non-stop, Yihua, we ran away, we got cold feet, woo-woo, you can just hit us, eh. So that's the reason. These two foolish women, it is only normal for them to be unable to defeat me. If they were able to defeat me, how am I supposed to continue living in the underworld in the future? However, looking at how sad his wives were, Yihua sighed. Glory and humiliation are already won. They can't defeat others outside, so they treat it as them losing face for themselves. But look at the Empress, she still wants me to hit them. How can there be such a cute woman like you two? Alright, be good, don't cry anymore. Yi Hua hurriedly consoled his two wives. Just now, the two of you were the fiercest, and how many times did you scold me for being trash? Hearing that Yi Hua was consoling them, Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi cried even more fiercely. Yi Hua felt very helpless, the one who is consoling them is always me. Alright, I will take revenge for you too. Really? Yi Hua, you are the best. That damned skeleton is simply too shameless, I am going to put its bones into the sewers to soak. Qingye said indignantly. To actually make me lose face in front of Yi Hua, that is an extremely heinous crime. Donghuang Baizhi also said indignantly, Yi Hua, that skeleton is very formidable, you must beat it up ruthlessly, and you must hang it up and beat it up. Use your deviant fire to burn it, and you must not burn it to death. I am truly speechless. You are clearly scolding me, yet I still have to console you. This time, I am truly unlucky. Alright, whatever you say. Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi pulled Yi Hua and disappeared, and they immediately arrived at the scene. Yi Hua pretended to look at the scene, the two of you are fighting so fiercely. Where is he? Where is he? Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi looked around, but were unable to find anyone. Immediately, they became unhappy. I called my husband over, but in the end, my husband disappeared. Don't you think that I should be angry? I have even thought of the lines to scold Yi Hua. Yi Hua, I reckon that skeleton retreated after knowing the difficulty. That's right, he definitely knew that he couldn't win against the skeleton, which is why he ran away. He is simply a despicable person, I am going to curse him for life. Black lines appeared on Yi Hua's forehead. You two actually want to curse me? Don't your conscience hurt? Didn't I treat you two well enough? Alright, it's just a small matter, calm down, calm down. Yi Hua hurriedly said. You two, stop cursing me. Yi Hua, I am just angry. I can't win against the skeleton, I have lost face for you. The Empress was also incomparably guilty, Yi Hua, quickly hit us, if not, I will feel uncomfortable. Yi Hua was helpless, do you really want me to hit you? Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi nodded their heads very seriously. Alright, I won't be polite then. Yi Hua hugged onto Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi and disappeared. As for what he went to do, he naturally went to bully his wife. I am also a man with a temper. Since you two are acting so recklessly, I have to calm down. However, in Water City's conference hall, the atmosphere was very tense. Other than the three Supremes, there were two other people. They were Meridian Break Sect's Supremacy Everlasting Hatred and God Academy's Supremacy Taiha. However, above the Sea of Innocence, there was a huge crowd of people. The reason why they came here today was to demand an explanation. How were they supposed to resolve this matter? May I know why the two of you have come from afar? Kong Feiqing spoke on behalf of the two Supremes. After all, Pai Liangjun and Bao Ci weren't in a good mood. End of this chapter. Chapter 932. Eternal Hatred's face was extremely gloomy, especially when he heard those words. He almost couldn't help but attack. What's the matter? Don't you know what you've done in Water City? Or are you provoking the entire Kangluo continent? Eternal Hatred shouted in a low voice, and the pressure of a supreme martial artist instantly spread out. Tai He, who was sitting at the side, closed his eyes and listened quietly. He seemed quite calm. Kong Feiqing and the others had no idea what was happening outside. They had been dealing with all kinds of important matters these days. Eternal Hatred, you've gone too far. Since the establishment of Water City, we have never participated in the affairs of your continent. How can you say that we're provoking you? I, Kong Feiqing, will not admit to such a false accusation. Kong Feiqing was quite unyielding. After all, He was a supreme martial artist. The situation that day was special. After all, the other party was too strong, so he had to be afraid. However, Eternal Hatred and Tai He were also supreme martial artists. Kong Feiqing didn't have much fear. He didn't fear them at all. They could choose to fight one-on-one or in groups. If they really wanted to fight, Water City would accept it. Hearing Kong Feiqing's words, Eternal Hatred was so angry that he laughed. Don't you know what you've done in Water City? 2 waves of sea howls flattened coastal cities, and countless people died in the tsunami. And that so-called golden magma actually fell on the outer sect of my Broken Pulse sect. So many students died. Can you bear the responsibility for this? The 3 of them were stunned at first, but they immediately remembered what had happened. It was probably caused by the battle against the Abyss Wave a few days ago. Eternal Hatred saw their expressions and knew that they knew about it. So he was even more furious. Kong Feiqing heaved a sigh of relief. He looked at Pai Liangjun and Bao Xi and said indifferently, "Do you know what happened to them?" "You're just spouting nonsense." Eternal Hatred said coldly. "Who knew what happened to them? I'm just a supreme martial artist, not a god of creation." "Their son died in the battle a few days ago," Kong Feiqing said in a low voice. Sure enough, Pai Liangjun and Bao Xi were very depressed when it came to this matter. They even clenched their fists. That day, their enemy was right in front of them, but they couldn't do anything. They even listened to him and let him go. They even begged him to go. This kind of situation made people feel despair. That kind of helplessness was really hateful. Tai He slowly opened his eyes and asked doubtfully, "What happened?" Kong Feiqing let out a breath and said in a deep voice, "In our Water City, the old ancestors sealed a giant beast called the Abyss Wave in the magma. It is the burning fiend." Sure enough, everlasting sorrow and Tai He's expressions became solemn when they heard the words Burn Sha. Because the Burn Sha wasn't an ordinary colossus, it was a primordial divine beast. That day, we sealed it with all our might and fought against the burning fiend incantation. Perhaps it was the aftermath of the battle that led to such a tsunami. "We can't do anything about it," Kong Feiqing said helplessly. There were falsehoods and truths in his words. Of course, it was a fight to the death. They had clearly run away. However, the aftershock from the battle was real. Lonesome Hatred didn't believe it and asked in a low voice, "What happened in the end? Where's Fen Sha? If Fen Sha was still here, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you." Kong Feiqing squeezed out a smile. In this battle, all of them had suffered losses, except for him. Tai He laughed, but this laughter contained contempt. It was as if he was saying, "You want to destroy the burning fiend with just you? How is that possible?" Of course, Lonesome Hatred wouldn't believe such a thing. The burning fiend was so powerful that even deities feared it. "You say that the 3 of you killed the burning fiend? Aren't you playing with children? Do you think that we are easy to deceive? Is the burning fiend something that the 3 of you can kill?" Lonesome Hatred wouldn't believe such a thing even if he was beaten to death. Kong Feiqing snorted, "Lonesome Hatred, just because you don't have the strength doesn't mean that my water castle doesn't have the strength, do you understand? Just now, when we came over, we discovered that there was a bit of a problem with your star cannons." At this moment, Tai He continued speaking. "The star cannons were destroyed by Ren Yao that day, but how could a water castle without a star cannons do? Thus, they made a fake one and placed the fake star cannons on the city walls, giving people a kind of illusion. From the outside, there was no difference between the fake star cannons and the fake star cannons. However, the fake star cannons were just empty shells, and were unable to gather energy. I didn't expect that Tai He would actually see through it. This water castle without a star cannons was just like a drunken lady, allowing people to do whatever they wanted and trample all over them." Kong Feiqing picked up the teacup in his hand and took a sip. "The star cannons are my water castle's secret treasures, and it was also the star cannons that destroyed the burning fiend." After saying this, Lonesome Hatred and Tai He started to believe him a little. After all, The star cannons of Water Castle were famous for being ruthless. The reason why they didn't directly attack was because they were afraid of this star cannons. It was said that even Supremes couldn't withstand a single shot from this star cannons and were instantly turned into dregs. He understood now. It turned out that these star cannons had been fired before. No wonder it felt like there was nothing at all. Then what about the burning fiend's corpse? Lonesome Hatred asked in a deep voice. You guys talked so much about the burning fiend, you have to at least let me see the corpse, right? After all, there's no proof for these words. Kong Feiqing stood up and took down a box from the shelf at the side. The burning fiend's corpse is in this box. Kong Feiqing stretched out the small box in his hand. Lonesome Hatred and He looked at the box, and the corners of their mouths twitched slightly. Do you really think we're 3 years old? For a race like the burning fiend, no matter how weak it is, it's still as big as a person, right? I'm afraid you're trying to fool us with a cockroach's corpse. I know the doubts in your hearts. The burning fiend is indeed very big, but after it died, its body shrank, and it's about the same size as an ordinary spider. When Kong Feiqing brought people to look for the corpse, it really took them a long time to find it. It was really like looking for a needle in a haystack. Kong Feiqing opened the box, and Lonesome Hatred and He both looked at it. It was like a dead spider with 8 legs bent, but its body was white, like a maggot. In fact, this was also the first time Lonesome Hatred and He saw the burning fiend, and their eyes were filled with curiosity. After all, the burning fiend was something that even the gods were afraid of. For this water castle, it actually killed one. Was this real or fake? This is the burning fiend. Kong Feiqing, aren't you a little too careless? Lonesome Hatred couldn't feel any aura at all. It was just like an ordinary insect. I don't think so either. He also said. Kong Feiqing closed the box and said in a deep voice, how would you know? It doesn't matter, but I want to tell you that our water castle can destroy the burning fiend, and we won't be afraid of anyone. Kong Feiqing, is this the attitude of your water castle? Lonesome Hatred asked in a deep voice. Pai Liangjun stood up at this time. Lonesome Hatred, who can stop natural and man-made disasters. If you want to use this method to invade Water Castle, then let's fight. End of this chapter. Chapter 933. Fight. Bao Ci also stood up and shouted. His son and mount had died. He couldn't swallow this anger. Since they wanted to fight, then come. Water City wouldn't be afraid of them. Kong Feiqing didn't expect Pai Liangjun and Bao Ci to be so stubborn. They actually said they wanted to fight. How could he let them back down? He was just expressing his attitude, he didn't really want to fight. After all, the star cannon was gone. Without this powerful killing intent, it would be very difficult to deal with them. After all, there were more than 2 Supremes in the Kangluo continent. If a few more came, it would be a problem. Everlasting Hatred and Taiha's complexions worsened when they heard the attitude of these people. They were considering a problem. Should they fight or not? Since the other side's attitude was so unyielding, if they backed down now, wouldn't it make others think they were afraid of Water City? However, thinking of the star cannon outside, Everlasting Hatred and Taiha were a little worried. This wasn't a joke. Even Supremes were afraid of it. The atmosphere was so heavy that it even caused the air to quiet down. Kong Feiqing had his own worries, and so did Everlasting Hatred. Neither side wanted to fight, but if no one gave them a way out, they would have no choice but to fight. If a fight really broke out, Water City would definitely be at a disadvantage. After all, with Everlasting Hatred and Taiha's status, if the 2 of them called for the help of other Supremes, how could Water City resist them? The main problem was that the star cannon was gone, but the star cannon was still there. In fact, Water City's attitude could be even more unyielding. Both sides were in a deadlock, and it seemed like they would fight at any moment. At this time, Abalone suddenly appeared. Looking at the various supreme beings present, he slightly leaned forward and said in a gentle voice, "Seniors, please calm down. This entire matter is just a misunderstanding. If a fight breaks out, it will be the loss of both sides. Peace is the most important." With Abalone as a way out, the atmosphere finally relaxed. At least it wasn't the kind of situation where they would fight at any moment. Supreme everlasting sorrow, most of the people in Water City know that a burning fiend has appeared in Water City. There's no need for us to lie to you about such a thing. It's unavoidable for accidents to occur in battle. We, Water City, express our condolences to those who died in this disaster. What Abalone said was pertinent. At the very least, it made everlasting hatred and Taihe feel a lot more comfortable. However, it was only a little. This girl was good at talking, and she was much better than the other three. Bao Ci was very puzzled. When did his daughter become so talkative? She had never seen Sharky so brave before. She belonged to the pretty girl from a humble family type. Of course, Abalone was not that kind of person. He was taught by Qi Shuwen. In Qi Shuwen's heart, his position in the Bao family was still too low. If he did something, it would be helpful in the future. Moreover, now was not the time to start a war. Qi Shuwen also knew about the star cannon. The current Water City wasn't a match for the Bao clan. Once it fell, his reputation as the Bao clan's son-in-law would be gone. Now, he didn't get any benefits except for a woman. After hearing this, Eternal Hatred said in a deep voice, "Mourn? How can we mourn with so many wronged souls? All the people in the coastal areas have been devoured, and all they do is mourn." Abalone's function had been completed, so he didn't participate in it. Kong Feicheng, of course, heard it. He said in a low voice, "Everlasting hatred, although this natural disaster was an accident, it was caused by our Water City. Therefore, we will not shirk our responsibility. We can discuss the reconstruction work." Pai Liangjun and Bao Ci seemed to have come to their senses. It was true that they couldn't fight now. It was very disadvantageous for them. Everlasting Hatred and Taihe also knew the pros and cons. Since the other party had given them face, it would be easy to negotiate. After all, they had come today to ask for an explanation. Everlasting Hatred stood up and said, "All right, let's discuss this matter properly." Kong Feicheng nodded and sent Everlasting Hatred and Taihe out. Today's matter was considered settled. As for the following discussion, they would make plans later. After Everlasting Hatred and Taihe emerged from the sea, they brought their people back. They were very satisfied with this result. At least Water City had bowed its head. Next, they would discuss the matter of compensation. In the meeting hall, Bao Ci shouted, "Sharky, come out." Bao Yu walked in from the door and greeted respectfully, "Father." "What happened just now?" Bao Ci asked in a low voice. Abalone pursed her lips, as if she didn't want to say it. "Speak." "Lord Father, it was my husband who taught me to say it." Abalone couldn't help but say it. Just now, her husband had clearly told her not to say it was taught by her. Her husband was a low-profile person, doing good deeds without leaving his name. Having such a husband was also a blessing. "Qi Shuwen taught you?" "Yes." "Let him in." Bao Ci said in a low voice. Qi Shuwen's figure slowly walked in and respectfully said, "Greetings, Lord Father and Patriarchs." Bao Ci looked at his son-in-law. If it wasn't for his daughter liking him, how could she have married such a person? "You told Sharky to say that?" Bao Ci coldly asked. "Yes, Lord Father." "How dare you!" Bao Ci angrily shouted and slammed the table. Qi Shuwen appeared very calm, not panicking in the slightest. On the other hand, Abalone panicked, "Lord Father, my husband didn't do anything wrong." "He didn't do anything wrong. What about our Water City's face? Isn't this showing weakness in front of those two fellows?" At this time, Kong Feiqing smiled and said, "Brother Bao, let's hear what your son-in-law thinks first." "Humph. Thinking he's smart." Bao Ci coldly snorted and drank the tea in one gulp. "Qi Shuwen, tell me, why did you do this?" Kong Feiqing indifferently asked. Abalone gave him an encouraging look. Qi Shuwen looked at the three supreme beings and said, "Because the current water city doesn't have the strength to start a war." Bang! Bao Ci directly smashed the table. "Impudent! How can you know the strength of our water city?" Kong Feiqing and Pai Liangjun's expressions weren't good either. This was destroying their own prestige and boosting their opponent's morale. Abalone was also frightened. How could her husband say that? No matter what, he couldn't say that Water City wasn't good. Qi Shuwen continued, "If the star cannons were still here, I wouldn't have said that. Our Water City is afraid of the number of supreme beings they have, and they are also afraid of our star cannons. If we were to start a war, Water City would become history, or even a tourist attraction. And today, they came here mainly to test us. The situation just now was very dangerous, and I had no choice but to let Sharky come out and give us a way out. Lord Father, Patriarchs, we don't have the star cannons now. This is a fact." Following Qi Shuwen's words, the three supreme beings' expressions weren't good. Although this was a fact, it still made them unhappy. Chapter 934. Furthermore, for the matter of causing the tsunami, Water Town is naturally responsible for it. Rather than shirking the responsibility, why don't we just accept it, and by doing so, we will be able to obtain a good reputation. By then, everyone will only remember how good Water Town is, and by then, what reason would they have to attack us? Because there would be no more excuses. Following Qi Shuwen's words, the three supremes became silent. Compared to the time when we had the star cannon, we indeed have to hide from it. We should also quickly find something to replace the star cannon, only then would we be able to ensure the safety of Water Town. After all, there are too many fishy things going on in this matter. Hearing that there was something fishy going on, the three supremes all looked towards Qi Shuwen. "What fishy things?" Pai Liangjun asked gravely. "Those 5 women." Qi Shuwen said gravely. Qi Shuwen was not a kind person, he had a stomach full of evil tricks. These few days, he was also thinking about how to do it, and was also looking for an opportunity, and today was the opportunity. "Those 5 women?" Bao Ci asked confusedly. "That's right, those 5 women should have been saved by Pippi, and one of them was even captured by him. Didn't he release him in the end? However, this capture was just an act, those 5 women aren't weak and delicate." The three supremes immediately recalled. If it was an ordinary person who saw that kind of scene, they would definitely be scared to death, but those 5 women seemed to be just watching a show. Qi Shuwen continued, "That day, Fishy and I didn't rush back, and we saw everything. That Fan Sha was killed by those 5 women. Everyone sucked in a mouthful of cold air, that Fan Sha was actually killed by those 5 women. Just how strong are those 5 women? Why didn't you say so earlier?" Pai Liangjun said gravely. "Because these few days, I have been thinking, why did they do that, what is their goal, but today's matter made me have a thought." "What is it?" Bao Ci asked gravely. "Those 5 women were purposely arranged to come over, and then caused a disaster, this way, they would be able to openly come over and provoke us." Qi Shuwen's words caused the three supremes to be astonished. Those 5 women are creating opportunities for others, what a vicious thought. Abeo Yuyu looked at her husband and felt very proud. Her husband's talent was outstanding, and she had not misjudged him. From the very beginning, we have fallen into someone else's trap. Lord Father, Patriarchs, think about it carefully. Why did all the young masters fight? Was it because of them? Even during my wedding, my brain almost caused me to lose the love of my life. After Qi Shuwen finished speaking, he looked tenderly at Abalone Fish. Abalone Fish revealed a guilty look. She had been fooled and almost scolded her husband away. So, all of this is a conspiracy from the Kangluo continent. They are plotting against our water city. Qi Shuwen was also laying the groundwork. They couldn't fight now, but that didn't mean they couldn't fight in the future. This was because Qi Shuwen knew that Water City would not participate in the matters of the continent. However, this was because their hatred was not strong enough. Therefore, what he had to do now was to attract hatred, especially from Bao Xi and Pai Liangjun. Their sons had died. This kind of hatred was absolutely irreconcilable. Moreover, now that they knew that this was a conspiracy from the continent, they became even more furious. After Bao Xi and Pai Liangjun heard this, they were indeed furious. After all, what Qi Shuwen said was very reasonable. They even felt that it was most likely the case. This damned everlasting hatred. Pai Liangjun shouted angrily. His son was kind enough to save someone, but in the end, he was schemed against. Don't you think this kind of thing is infuriating? Bao Xi's face was gloomy. If everlasting hatred was still here, he would definitely make a move. Although Qi Shuwen didn't mention anyone, in their hearts, they had already tacitly agreed that it was everlasting hatred. However, Qi Shuwen continued, now that we have lost the powerful star cannon, we have to advance step by step and wait for the time when we are strong. At that time, no one will dare to bully my water city. These words were impassioned and gave people a sense of motivation. I've finished speaking. Qi Shuwen said respectfully. He cupped his hands and left with Abalone Fish. The conference hall was incomparably quiet. After a long time, Kong Feiqing said, seems like the Bao clan has found a wise son-in-law. Today, I can see that he is a resourceful person. He's pretty good, Pai Liangjun said. It seemed like the three supremes had all been deceived. Actually, it wasn't really deceived. Apart from not telling the 5 women their identities, everything else was true. Even his goal was scared silly. This Qi Shuwen could be considered an expert in assisting. Bao Xi felt that this son-in-law of his was indeed not bad. He actually had such an opinion. It seemed like he had underestimated Qi Shuwen. Qi Shuwen's goal could be considered to have been achieved. Now, all he had to do was wait and properly develop himself. There were many good things in the Sea of Innocence. Reaching the Supremes was only a matter of time. Moreover, the Bao clan also had many good things. If he treated Abalone Fish well, when the time came, Abalone Fish would definitely say something about it. If that happened, wouldn't Lord Father give it to him? As for those 5 women, sooner or later, he would surpass them. And that empress. And that man, sooner or later, Qi Shuwen, will beat you up. Perhaps Qing Yutong still didn't know that her goal had been achieved by accident. At this moment, the group of 7 looked as if they were on a vacation. Yang Haotian and Ren Yao sat on the back of a horse, while the 5 women sat in the carriage and chatted. When women were together, they had countless topics to talk about. They could practically chat endlessly. However, the relationship between Yang Haotian and Ren Yao was a bit unusual. At this moment, Yang Haotian was sitting on the back of a horse. He suddenly said, I suddenly feel like drinking something. Ren Yao took a look at Yang Haotian, then rubbed her head. Recently, her hair hasn't grown much. Drink what? Protect you. Ren Yao. When the 5 women in the carriage heard what Yang Haotian said, they immediately laughed until their stomachs hurt. This Yang Haotian is simply a slut. As for Ren Yao could be seen licking the corner of her mouth, then slightly raised her finger. Do you really want to protect me? Ugh, Yang Haotian almost vomited. This was the reverse teasing, and it would happen a few times every day. In any case, these 2 sluts were together, and they were happy and joyful the entire journey. Are we not there yet? Qing Yutong asked. Yang Haotian looked at the sky. Big sis, we should be there by tomorrow. Why don't we use teleportation? If we do that, we will lose a lot of happiness. In actuality, the most ordinary means of transportation can actually bring happiness. As for where they were going, the closest place would be Meridian Break Sect. Qing Yutong planned to go and take a look at little Ali and God Yi. I wonder how those two little fellows are doing. Brother-in-law is truly heartless, throwing them away just like that. I reckon that right now, they are having a 3-person world and are very happy. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.